Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Stephen Jensen. We see the American Nightmare, Georgia's own Cody Rhodes shirt. Traveled all the way to SmackDown just to get that. Fortunately, Cody showed up for a dark match for you.
Hell yeah, you did.
At least you got to see that. Guys, we appreciate you joining us here today. It is Thursday, January 25th. And shout out, as always, to Big Dick MLJ for the intro. We got a lot to talk about. It's Royal Rumble weekend. There was a Cody Rhodes and CM Punk promo.
Yeah.
But before we get to all of that, this episode is sponsored by Wrestle Rumble. If you would like to be entered into the Wrestle Rumble Pick'em for CM Punk, if you love CM Punk, if you dislike CM Punk, this is still the pick'em you would like to enter because you win money regardless. Who cares if you like Punk? Who cares if you dislike Punk? You like money, right? You gotta like money. So all you got to do is leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat and you get placed into our little pool here. And at the end of the show, we'll pick 3 names to give away a free entry into the pick'em, a free chance to win $666. Everybody, doesn't matter if you like Punk, doesn't matter if you dislike Punk, you like money, you want to be in this pick'em, you can be in this pick'em for free. All you got to do, leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. Head over to WrestleRumble.com as well. Check out all the other pick'ems they got going on. The big Royal Rumble pick'em is this weekend as well. They got the Super Bowl squares is coming up a couple weeks from now. Super Bowl's in 2 weeks. It's not next week, the following week.
Well, they have they have the week off, right? Also,
yeah.
So it'll be in a few weeks. But they also have the 4-spot contest where it's only $1 entries, and they have which title belts? There's a custom Cody belt, a custom CM Punk belt, a Hasbro belt, and
World Heavyweight title.
World Heavyweight title. There you go.
There you go. So all you got to do, everybody, leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. We will continue to promote that throughout this show. But leave a Wrestle Rumble and you get just a free entry into our little drawing here. And then you could spin that. See what I did? Because we spin the wheel at the end of the show to pick the names. You could spin that into $666. You can also leave a super chat like our pal Tommy Maynard does. Shout out to the best show on Fightful. We appreciate you, Tommy. Thanks for joining us every single week here on the show. You can leave a super chat, get your question, comment, statement read on air. You can leave a thumbs up on the video. You can subscribe to the channel if you've not done that as well. Maggie, always hanging out with us. Hi, everyone. Please hit a thumbs up. Donate a super chat. Support us. Yes, please support us. We appreciate that. Guys, we had an interview with Alex Kane, MLW World Heavyweight Champion Alex Kane. That'll be about 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. You'll definitely want to stick around for that. I've spoken to Alex a couple of times before. This was Jensen's first time with Alex, and Alex was very excited, I'm pretty sure, to talk about action wrestling. And Jensen, of course, being that his home staple there, was very excited to ask questions about action wrestling and the whole scene going on there. So some stuff, if you listen to some other Alex Kane interviews, where it might be MLW heavy, we do, of course, talk about MLW. They helped us out with that one. But we get into some other stuff that isn't full on MLW. All right, guys, let's get into it, Jensen. It was a big week. It's a big week overall. We're going to start with the obvious topic.
I'm old and I'm fucking tired and I work with fucking children. I'm tired of wrestling these kids that think they know everything.
I love that bumper so much.
We're using that for WWE spotlights now?
Yeah, just because it's hilarious.
You just change the overlay to just WWE spotlight the same audio.
Yeah, same audio. Even I do need to change the overlay.
And by the way, everybody, I don't know if you mentioned, Jeremy, but like for Wrestle Rumble, we'll give away, and all 3 people who win Wrestle Rumble, we'll give you a entry for the CM Punk contest and for the Wrestle Rumble Royal Rumble contest. So like you'll get a chance at it 666 and 1,000.
There you go. I do have Yeah, I do have the graphic for the Rumble Pick'em as well. I only saw that we were promoting the Punk Pick'em.
Oh,
there you
we're
go.
doing both. Yeah, we'll give out the 3 people win entries for both of these. So I'll get you an entry for. Oh, sorry, I started at 500 or almost 1,000. You have $1,000 total here.
Over 1,000 total.
Yes.
If you win both of them.
Yes.
So you could win over $1,000. Everybody, all you got to do is leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. You can be entered to win. All right. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes on Monday night. Jensen, so what do you want to talk about? Punk came out. He said, he brought up Dusty. He said, Dusty entrusted me with you, wanted me to look out for you when you came in. I knew what you had to go through living up to the Rhodes name and everything. He's like, I don't know if I was in that position, but you worked hard. You kept your head down. You mind your own business. Unlike I would typically do. And he all the way got around to, I'm more American Dream than you because I came from a family of an electrician. You were bored on third base being a Rhodes. Cody brought up that, I'm more CM Punk than you because everything you said in that pipe bomb promo, I went out and actually did. You dropped the torch. You didn't pass it. You dropped it. You didn't care who picked it up. I picked it up and then I ran with it. So I'm more CM Punk than you. And then they build to the Rumble of, I'm going to stop you from finishing your story. I'm going to stop you from starting your story. I'm going to win the Rumble. I'm going to win the Rumble. Got to say, Jensen, 10-7 CM Punk.
10-7 CM Punk. Okay.
10-7 CM Punk.
I know you're trolling me. The face to face. I mean, this whole segment, I will say this whole segment was very, very good. I liked it from both guys. I'm not going to sit here and just rip on CM Punk because that isn't fair. Like I think it took both guys to have, like, this was one of the best face-to-face promos I've seen in a really long time. And also the most invested I've been in WWE for a long time as well, just in general as a fan, for like obvious reasons. I was super invested around this time last year because I was convinced Cody Rhodes was going to win the championship at WrestleMania. We'll talk about that for this year a little bit here in a second. The scenarios that like may or may not be happening, but I mean, Cody Rhodes is super on point with what he was saying. I mean, and it's a lot of stuff that I've said also here on the show about, CM Punk did this whole pipe bomb promo and then quit. I get he had his reasons. I get it, he was fed up with the company, and I'm not saying that he was like necessarily wrong to leave the WWE when he did years ago. Like that's not really my place. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we're not privy to and stuff too, not just in WWE, but in AEW also with Punk. I mean, I have to be fair about all that too. But that all said, Punk talked a big game and then he quit. And like Cody said, he didn't put anyone over on the way out. He didn't go like advance the business when he left. He didn't actually, as a matter of fact, there were quotes. You can find the videos online. They're not hard to find, of CM Punk doing interviews, during his leading up to his UFC run, like pretty much after he had announced he was going to fight for the UFC, but like before he'd actually gotten any fights. And then even after he fought Mickey Gall, if he even brought up professional wrestling, he'd get mad at you. Like he didn't want to talk about pro wrestling. He didn't want to talk about pro wrestling fans. Whenever they would bring it up, he would say like, well, I don't want to talk about a bad wrestling. I don't want to talk about a bad show. Like I do, like WWE's just a bad show. I don't want to talk about a bad show the same way I wouldn't want to talk about a bad soap opera or a bad movie or whatever. Like I don't like it. I haven't liked it for a long time. I didn't even like it while I was doing it towards the end. So like he literally would say there's a 0% chance of me ever returning to pro wrestling. He wanted nothing to do with it. Once again, I get he had his gripes. I get he was burned out. I get all that. But he did the opposite of, helping the wrestling business. He didn't want anything to do with it at all. So both those points are accurate for Cody. He quit, and then he also did nothing. He talked trash basically about the business and about the fans that whole time. So the same fans that were chanting his name in the arenas over and over while he was gone, he was like embarrassed by that. He wasn't like. Anyway, the story has changed significantly since he's been back about how he's felt about the wrestling business and about how he's felt about the wrestling fans. But once again, that's just CM Punk. That's what he does. So, and then you go to Cody and it's like, okay, everything you said in the pipe bomb promo. Okay, so I quit also. And then I went to TNA or Impact. I went to Ring of Honor. I went to New Japan. I worked the Indies. Went to Glory Pro. Went all over the place. And then founded AEW, which gave him a job to get back into wrestling. Because if people forget, when Punk was first trying to get his toes back in a few years ago, he was a part of that Fox show. And clearly there was interest there from at least one side or the other of him being a part of WWE. Once again, I get Vince McMahon was in charge then, and that was probably the barrier, was probably Punk and Vince probably not wanting to work with one another. That's just me assuming. I have no idea for real, but that's my guess. But he had nowhere to go then. His UFC run was done. They didn't want him. He wasn't going to fight anywhere else. No other wrestling company is going to give him the kind of money or exposure he's going to want to do this. And WWE wasn't an option still, even then. So where could he go? To AEW, the company Cody literally founded to give wrestlers options that weren't getting chances in the WWE. So not only that, Cody does that, and then he returns to the WWE on his own merit. Like, it wasn't like he got fired by AEW like CM Punk. He let his contract run out and didn't resign. There's a massive difference between those two things. There's a massive difference between getting in backstage fights and getting fired and letting your contract run up and deciding with your options of being what you want to do next, deciding to go to WWE. So, and then when Punk was gone, other people picked the ball up, like Bryan Danielson. He picked that ball up, and the fans got behind him. And, so everything everything Cody said was true. The stuff Punk said, I'm guessing was true. I mean, there's never been these stories out here about him being
terrible fathering by Dusty Rhodes to be like, that's the guy who's going to look out for you.
And I don't know how much I believe it. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I don't know how deep that the real.
Wow, are you calling CM Punk a liar?
Tell me when I'm telling lies, man. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a liar. I'm sure he's had. I'm positive he's had conversations with Dusty Rhodes, but I don't know how much CM Punk was like the guardian angel of Cody Rhodes in WWE, especially considering who else was in the WWE when Cody came in. He had plenty of people that actually had long-time relationships with Dusty and with Cody. Like, I doubt CM Punk was the go-to guy for Cody Rhodes while he was in his first WWE run. I think there was a loose relationship there, and I think it's easy to put that together in a promo that makes sense, because big part of CM Punk's return is like his love and nostalgia for what he loved so much when he got into wrestling. He's bringing all that stuff up, in these promos and stuff. So, like, Dusty Rhodes is one of those things that's a part of his story, a part of his first WWE run. So I'm not saying I'm not calling him a liar and saying that Dusty never talked to CM Punk and was never wanted Cody to be helped by CM Punk or looked after by CM Punk. But I highly doubt that. Let me put it this way. When Cody Rhodes was in the WWE originally, he was traveling with Santino Marella. He wasn't traveling with CM Punk. He was traveling with Bryan Danielson. He wasn't traveling with CM Punk. It's documented to people he was traveling with, who was in those cars and stuff. People have talked about it. As a matter of fact, when Cody started in WWE, everyone knows he's local to me. I saw him at a Waffle House. He was probably an OVW at the time, maybe just started on Raw. But I saw him at a Waffle House with Santino Marella. He wasn't with CM Punk. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? It's like, I think CM Punk's done a lot of stuff that makes him sound like he was one of Dusty's, favorites, and that Dusty. And so it's a good way to build a story between the two. And it was a good way because you had Punk saying this stuff that's going to hit a nerve with Cody, because one of Cody's big sticking points for leaving WWE originally was, why are all these other people being called Dusty kids when I'm Dusty's actual kid and I'm dressed like a space clown? So I think that CM Punk was one of Dusty's kids, probably to a degree. And that's going to strike a nerve with Cody. And then for Cody to say the stuff he said, that's going to strike a nerve with CM Punk. So then by the time they get nose to nose, things are heated. So they started like really cordial and respectful. By the end of the segment, they're forehead to forehead, nose to nose. And I love the way that they just both walked away. Like, there wasn't like a big blow off. Like, there wasn't like a big fight or anything. Like, they left the tension there, and Cody never flinched. And you just saw it, so I thought the segment was really, really damn good. Obviously, I'm going to side with Cody in the material, but I think they were smart in the way they're presenting the CM Punk stuff with him. So
I thought Punk cooked him. No contest.
Sure.
All right. If you want my true thoughts, Jensen, I won't troll. I didn't care for CM Punk's portion of this promo. I actually think you liked it more than I did. I don't care for the Dusty stuff. If you got to make your point by bringing up some history you may or may not have with Dusty, then I'm checked out there. Like I just am. I think Roman's promo last year was better. I think Seth did it better as well, but it's something we have just seen and heard so often. And like, if that's the point you got to make, like, I don't need it. I got no time for it. I thought Cody could have actually, everybody was waiting on, oh, are they going to make AEW references? And they didn't really. There was Punk had the line, like, I can separate business from personal. Can you? And everybody's like, is that an AEW reference? And then, they had the line of like, I brought you back to pro wrestling. Cody should have just been like, you wouldn't have been back to, I gave you a job.
Yeah.
Like, you would have had nowhere to go if it wasn't for me. Oh, I thought Cody, honestly, it was more 10-7 Cody than 10-7 Punk. I didn't care for Punk's portion of it. It was fine, but once you bring up Dusty, I'm just like, you got to get better material than this. That's the easiest thing to do. You got to get better material than this.
Low hanging fruit, It's just it is. It's the easiest thing that, but. So it all depends on the presentation, and the thing is the Punk fan base. That's what makes this really interesting too, because like the more pissed off and angry CM Punk can look during this, and the more heelish he can come off during this, I think that's really good. Like I think if CM Punk was leaning into being a heel, I'd be all for that. But he's really more of like this tongue-in-cheek kind of tweener, because no matter what he says or does, his fan base is going to be cheering him. So like it's an interesting kind of place to be in, but and I don't expect them to bring up AEW directly maybe they will at some point. I also think they intentionally left meat on the bone for this, like there's going to be more than just this. But another thing that I think is very interesting, somewhat unrelated, but does tie in. I saw you put an article out yesterday on Fightful about how Cody claims that he wanted to fight in the UFC a few years ago.
That's a lie. And this man's lying.
Now, but what I want to say is this: I saw during the one of the quotes was like, well, if you did it, like, who would you fight? And he was like, well, you'd have to give me the worst guy available, And I was just thinking, you know who that is?
Oh, my thumbnail game was on point because I used the thumbnail of him and staring down CM Punk.
Right. But
I didn't get enough credit for that.
Oh, well, I didn't. I figured that was obvious. Okay, but yeah,
me too. But the layers here.
Yes, well, I appreciated that. I thought everyone got that. So, but I mean, that's my point too. Is like this is almost happening in the wrong company, because man, would a lot of my stuff be validated that I've said if a guy like Cody Rhodes would have fought CM, because there's a 0% chance Cody would lose to CM Punk in the UFC. It'd be double takedown, and Punk wouldn't be able to get off his back. That'd be it. Just like his other fights, Punk throws these off balance punches where he's almost falling backwards while he's punching. It makes it really, really easy for people to take him down. Like it's actually hilariously easy. That's why he's not in the UFC anymore. But I thought that it was interesting that Cody said he was interested in doing that, and he wanted the worst opponent ever. And it's like, well, the worst opponent ever is available. I mean, he's in the WWE with you. And Shock, yes, he has done amateur wrestling. I'm very familiar with that. So I think that that's another interesting kind of layer to this too. But back to like the wrestling stuff and the more realistic, like I say realistic, the more the stuff that's actually happening.
What you're saying is Cody is going to shoot on Punk in the Rumble to ensure that he wins.
That'd be funny. I don't expect that. Cody's too professional to do that.
Coward.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, back to like the actual like wrestling stuff. Like, I don't think that AEW. I think that more AEW stuff will be kind of brought into this at some point. But like, it is. They got to be careful about what they say too, because like the NDAs, and because like WWE doesn't want to necessarily mention AEW like anyways to begin with. So they might have to kind of dance around it a little bit. But I mean, Cody, like, if we're gonna sit here and tell lies to each other's faces and just make stuff up for the sake of like making stories better, why doesn't Cody come out at some point and make this, part of this story? Like, yeah, man, I gave you a job. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You couldn't get a job anywhere else, and I gave you a job. And then you got there, and I left because of you. Like you're the kind of people I didn't want over there. So that, you know what I mean? Like, and now you're here. Like, now I got to deal with you here, dude. So I'm just going to take care of this problem right now and take you out and not have to deal with you. I would love to. We'll never get another, like, wink, wink, Colt Cabana type thing on WWE again. But I mean, if you got like a wink, wink, what's up, Matthew and Nicholas or something on TV, like, I mean, the internet would explode. But yeah, I mean, my point is, and you brought it up too, you could tie more kind of AEW like wink, wink type stuff to the crowd in the build, because we are absolutely going to get a CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes one-on-one match. Like, so it's just a matter of like, if this is the WrestleMania match or if this is going to happen before or after. But like this, you don't do all of this and leave with this kind of tension with that face off and like not have, like, they're penciled in for something already. It's just a matter of like when they're going to do this. And I'm here for it, by the way. Like, I'm very interested in this because I absolutely obviously want to see Cody win this, but that's not a guarantee. I mean, this is still CM Punk we're talking about, and he's very popular with his fan base. So, I
mean, he had the bigger reactions on Monday. The
Punk?
Yeah, the Punk chants outdrew the Code chants.
I don't know. I guess.
What do you mean? That's on tape.
What? You could hear people were trying to get the Codys in, but CM Punk's just easier to chant. I think that might be a little copium. It depends on what crowd. It depends on what crowds they're into. It just does. Like, even for AEW last night, like, they were in Savannah last night, and that crowd was terrible. You know what I mean? Like, and that was for everybody.
Like 200 people there.
But I'm just saying, like, and it sounded like there was no one there. And we had great wrestlers out there on the show last night, and and we had Sting out there and stuff. So a lot of it depends on the. Oh, here we go, Chi-Town. Chi-Town says Cody was more over than Punk, and he was there in the crowd. How much of this is also piped in? You know what I'm saying? How much of this is piped in?
Chi-Town first did leave a super chat. Who's going to be the first wrestler that tells Cody, "I don't give an F about your father"? I'm guessing Hook. Yeah, so Hook comes up to Cody, and he's eating his pizza or his chips or whatever, and then Cody's like, "Did you know my dad?" And Hook's like, "Fuck you," and then just moves on. There was more than 200 people. I'm kidding.
Sounded like there was 200 people in there, though.
It was a sparse crowd last night for AEW. I mean, the Wrestle Ticks will back me up on that one. All right, so I mean, let's address the sort of elephant. There was the report from Justin Barrasso, Sports Illustrated, that the plan is Cody and Punk at WrestleMania. How do you feel about this reported plan?
So first I'll say that Justin, I don't know Justin personally, but I like his work, and we have some mutuals that speak very highly of him and have for a long time. So I'm not going to sit here and like just discredit like what he's saying, because I don't think he's just making stuff out of thin air. But it was interesting because some of these reports were saying like, well, Triple H was telling people, and it's like,
it was sources close to Triple H, which seems,
I don't believe that.
Road Dogg out here leaking stuff to Sports Illustrated,
right? And that's a small circle in a new regime where, like, if you were, I don't think people are going to risk it to talk to not just SI or Justin or whatever, or any of us, Fightful or Sean, anyone. I don't think that like Triple H or any of his close people are going to be like telling any of us what the WrestleMania plans are, because why would they? That said, I want to discredit him either, like I said, because the guy does good work. I just my all right, so my mindset basically has to be this at this point. Are y'all? I'm sure people here are familiar with what happened during the pandemic with GameStop, with everybody like buying into GameStop to try to take down the hedge funds and all that stuff. And a big part of that without getting too into the story, Wall Street Bets, Reddit, and all that, they basically controlled this market for GameStop, and they jacked the stock price up, and it caused Robinhood to freak out, and the hedge fund people lost billions of dollars over this thing. The common people were winning for the first time in a long time when it came to this kind of stuff. It was a pretty revolutionary type thing, and a big part of that was diamond hands. Diamond hands, meaning we're not selling. Even though if I might have made $300, I might have $25 to my name in my bank account, but there's $300,000 I've made on this GameStop stock, but I'm not selling. We're taking down the greedy billionaires. I know I can get out right now, but I'm not, because if I get out, it's going to screw over other people. Diamond hands. So the real ones, the real people that were really trying to fight the system, even if they had a bunch of money that they could have sold and got out of there, they diamond hands, they kept them. It was just the faith of like, we're doing this together. Don't flinch. Diamond hands. Cody Rhodes. I can't let this negative stuff, this outside stuff, this what might happen, what might not happen, who might be available, who might not be available, who might get blown up and can't wrestle this year, who might not, and all this stuff. I need to just stick to it. Diamond hands. Listen, last year was a massive disappointment. I still have nightmares, American nightmares, about Solo Sikoa thumbing Cody Rhodes in the throat, Roman hitting with that spear, Cody sitting there in the ring looking just devastated. I've went back and I've rewatched Cody showing up to WrestleMania multiple times when he's getting out of that bus with his family, and you see this look on his face like he was probably just told he's losing tonight. We're probably seeing it right now. Like, look at his face right now. And all these things play in my mind. And I think to myself, I mean, that could easily happen again. They could even put Cody against Roman again and Roman could win. There's all these outside factors. Hulk Hogan's, reign or whatever. Like, they want Roman to probably beat that, for not just for Roman to help rewrite history because he's Roman Reigns, but because there's a lot of negative stuff that comes along with Hulk Hogan in 2024. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'll even say this. Listen, I'm pretty good with most people about being able to separate the business and the work and stuff like that. The business and the personal stuff. But the stuff with Hulk Hogan, I'll stand behind what you're saying with that. I think that was handled very, very poorly by him. I think that there's a lot of things that are very unlikable about Hulk Hogan. And it isn't even just the racist stuff. The stuff with when Nick got in that car accident with that military dude and like put him in a vegetated state until he passed, and Hulk the voice or the recordings of the messages of Hulk like blaming it on the other guy and saying like, what this guy do to deserve this, and trying to get Nick Hogan a reality deal coming out of jail. And even I just saw a video the other day when Nick got a DUI. Hulk shows up in the middle of the night. Listen, I understand protecting your own. I get the concept of like, you love your kid and you'll do anything for him no matter what. You're kind of blinded to what's right and wrong. You just want to help your kid out. But even in that video, there's surveillance footage that came out the other week of it, and I watched the whole thing. And not once does Hulk Hogan ask if anyone else is okay. Like, he's just like, where's Nick? Is Nick okay? Like, how long is Nick going to be in jail? How much money do I have to give to Nick to get Nick out of jail? Blah, blah, blah. He's not once like, oh, Nick got a DUI? That's insane. This guy's history, he shouldn't even be driving, this and that. Like, is anyone else okay? Did he hurt anyone? Like, there's no worry about anyone else. And so I'm with you, by the way. So I wanted to put that all out there too, because I've actually wanted to say that about Hulk Hogan for a while, because I actually watched that surveillance footage like the other week, and it really bothered me, and it really reminded me of the stuff when he got in that accident years ago and all. So it was like, anyways, yeah, I agree. Hulk Hogan's not a good guy. I completely agree with that. I don't even know why we just talked about that, but I'm glad I was able to say that on air. Why was I talking about? Oh yeah, the Hulk Hogan reign. So there's a lot of reasons. That's my point proven. There's a lot of reasons in history and have Roman Reigns in that spot instead of Hulk Hogan. I get that 100%. I have no problem with that at all, except for the fact that you have to keep the title on Roman so long to accomplish that. And there's so many people, but I'll also say this, man, and I hate to even admit this, but I'm going to keep
the balloons on the, that was weird.
Oh, you got the balloon. I haven't looked down.
Yeah. Fingers looked like a 2.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, Ace Shaw, because I see that's even before the Hulk Hogan as like a politician backstage and what he's done to screw people. Like that's not even. I'm not even talking about wrestling stuff right now behind the scenes. Like that's a whole other thing why you wouldn't want to like Hulk.
Yeah,
Hogan.
wrestling politics are wrestling.
Wrestling politics are wrestling politics, but I'm also talking about like all the Hogan lies and stuff about all these things that like just never happened that he tells people in interviews. But I got to keep this real too. I mean, I'm wearing George's own Cody Rhodes shirt. I was at SmackDown on Friday. Listen, Cody Rhodes should already be the WWE champion. He should have won at WrestleMania last year. I'm standing firm on that. And once again, I'm standing diamond hands on this too. Like I'm staying the course. I believe that Cody Rhodes is winning the Royal Rumble, and I believe Cody Rhodes is still beating Roman Reigns this year at WrestleMania. I just got to stick with that because, if I don't, then like, what kind of Cody Rhodes fan am I? I'm not going to give up on that. But go ahead.
Here's my idea, Jensen. Okay. Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble, right? Goes on, main events WrestleMania, takes on Roman Reigns, loses again, gets another chicken thrown at him. A Philly cheesesteak chicken. Comes out next night on Raw. Got dyed black hair. Remember when he did that in AEW?
Yeah.
Got dyed black hair. And he's like, I failed everybody. I'm a failure. He admits he's a failure. He goes into a deep state of depression. Okay. And then we don't see what's overcoming more adversity than depression. Okay. That's the lowest you can go.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see him until next year's Rumble. All right. Comes back. We actually do see him because he films like vignettes and stuff. It's like Cody's day off, but it's like, months off. Brandy's there.
He's like up in the rafters and like we just get kind of glimpses of him for like.
Oh, that's not bad. Actually, like, too. Yeah. He's chilling in the rafters with his dark hair, and he's
got a hawk.
He's just chilling there. But I also like they film like vignettes where he's just at home and he's just hanging out with Pharaoh, working on new cigar flavors. I don't know how cigars work, but working on new cigars, drinking whatever Cody Rhodes drinks. I assume like whiskey, Terramana. He looks at a bottle of Terramana. He's like, bullshit, and he just like smashes the Terramana. There's so many vignettes you can do with Cody Rhodes, like unemployed Cody Rhodes. So many good vignettes. He's training for that UFC fight he wants. You kidding me? He gets training. Brandy's there. Like, what? Who told you this was open fight night, bitch? Like, so many good vignettes you could do. Right? Comes back. Wins the Rumble again next year. 3 times. Only person in history to win it 3 times in a row. Okay? Only person in history. Wins WrestleMania 41. Wins WrestleMania 41. Beats Roman Reigns. Gets the record. Roman passes Hogan, because I think he passed him in September. So Roman surpasses Hogan by this point. And then Cody finishes the story at WrestleMania 41. What do you think?
Now, I mean, what you're saying is actually like somewhat possible. I don't think that Cody's going to disappear and become Sting, but so if we got to next year's WrestleMania, just hypothetically speaking, with Roman still as the champion, at that point, how far would he be away from Bruno? Just another
Bruno's not for like another. Yeah, Bruno's not till like 2027. I think we did this before.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if we get to 2025 at that point.
Yeah, you're still like 2 years off.
But that's like, at that point, you're too deep to bail, I think.
Here's the thing. Triple H likes Bruno. He's the one that like got Bruno and Vince back together on good terms and stuff. I don't think he cares for Hulk Hogan. So I think it's reasonable to assume like, yeah, let's push Hogan down, but Bruno's okay. We don't really have anything against Bruno to where it's like, let's break this record.
Yeah. I just saw a chat that I think was a mistype. I'm just saying, like, man, we just got to keep our minds on that. Is like, we're already so close. I mean, I know we're on close to Bruno, but like we're closer than we're ever going to get in our lifetime to that. Like if they're going to do it, this is going to be the reign to do it. Now, there's also the possibility of them doing the Rock and Roman this year, Punk and Cody this year, and then they do Cody and Roman again next year. But I mean,
so that's basically what that SI report implies. Because if you're saying you're doing Cody and Punk and you're doing Gunther and Rollins, the only thing left for Roman is Rock. There's no other big match out there for Roman that makes sense. You're not doing Roman and Orton. No offense to Randy Orton, but like that doesn't scream WrestleMania main event when Cody Rhodes is right there, when CM Punk is right there, even when Seth Rollins is right there. No offense to Roman solo. I don't know about that one, but like nothing else screams like it feels like it's got to be Cody or Rock. That's what it feels like. And if you're telling me that they're doing Cody and Punk, then you're basically telling me they're doing Roman and Rock. Here's what I will say. I listened to The Rock talk a lot on Tuesday because he got announced at TKO board of directors. Mm-hmm. That ESPN interview he did with First Take and everything. The way he was talking, the way he was saying, I like to play the long game, I like to build, I want to do something big and something grand and all of this stuff.
Next year's WrestleMania.
41 would seem to make a little bit more sense because right now we saw him at day one. He said the head of the table line hasn't been back since then. Unless he's going to be at the Rumble, unless he's going to win the Rumble, unless we're going to get my spot where all the three people are in the ring, the Rock's music hits, they just eliminate themselves, everything. That's a great idea. Come on. So unless we get that, it does feel like next year. Joel pointed this out on our show of like next year is when the Netflix deal kicks in. So you get Raw on Netflix beginning in January. All the pay-per-views are also on Netflix for non-US fans. US is still Peacock. Non-US is still is going to be on Netflix. What screams biggest WrestleMania ever than the first WrestleMania on Netflix with Rock and Roman? And you got a year to build it as well of, Roman loses at Mania this year. He comes out on Raw or SmackDown, whichever show they feel like putting him on. He still wants the title back. I don't think you have this big, long reign. He's like, I just never want the title back type of thing. He still mentions the title, but here comes Rock. And Rock is like, you let us down, whatever Rock is, stupid jokes. You let us down or whatever. You're not the head of the table anymore. You need to give that up. It's all about the Fala. I think I said that wrong, but it's all about that because that's, during the J feud, that's all they talked about anyway. They didn't care about the title. It's like, it's here's the who's the head of the table type of thing. So it's all about that. And then you build a year program with Rock and Roman, much like they did with Cena.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I prefer that idea. I think that would actually be, and Joel, that's a good point by Joel. Because that does need to be considered too with the Netflix deal starting at the beginning of 2021. They're going to really want a big bang there for everything they got going on at the beginning of the year, heading into the first big WrestleMania with all those new deals in place. So, I mean, and the other thing too is, the Gunther report for Rollins. Like, I love what Gunther's doing. I think I honestly, if Cody Rhodes wasn't a factor, I'd honestly be fine with Gunther being the one to dethrone Roman at this point. Like, I think Gunther's done great work. He's absolutely killing it. He's always been great, but then like the way he's gotten into such good shape and the faith WWE's put in him, Gunther's the man. So like, I would have no problem with Gunther challenging Rollins for the title, especially if they did kind of like an Ultimate Warrior Seth Rollins type thing where like, champ versus champ or something like that, or Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan thing with Rollins and Gunther is what I meant to say. But the only downside to that would be nobody getting the rub from beating Gunther. Although that person would get the rub, whoever beat him for the world title would ultimately get that rub still. If you know what I mean? Like, even if he didn't lose the Intercontinental title, if he won the world title without ever losing the IC title, like he still is unbeaten, and now he's the world champion. So it's still a mass. It's even a bigger rub. Whoever eventually beats him, they get the world title and beat Gunther after so long. So I want to consider that too. But at the same time, the reason I bring that up is because, I mean, I think part of this, there's probably two big moving pieces. One is Seth Rollins' knee, which I think is probably good to go if at least they're attempting, they're going to make a strong attempt for him to wrestle at WrestleMania, and I think he's going to wrestle at WrestleMania. The other moving piece is The Rock, which whether or not they have an agreement with him, that can always fall through based on other commitments or just like health and booking and stuff. Like he might just be like, listen, I'm not in the kind of shape to have the match that I need to have with Roman. It would just make way more sense.
Get it together at this point.
That he's had a year to do it.
Oh, I mean, well, not if you do it this year.
No, I'm talking about for next. Yeah, I'm talking about like for this year. Yeah, but I'm saying that the two moving pieces for this year are like The Rock and Seth, and that's why I bring Gunther into this too, because why would you do all this stuff, all this build between Seth and Punk, if that wasn't the WrestleMania match? Now you can always do that later on. You have these built-in feuds that you can do at other points. There's stuff that doesn't all have to happen at WrestleMania, but
I think the purpose of the Gunther Rollins segment for Monday was to give more credence to the idea that the winner doesn't have to go after Roman Reigns. Because my whole thing was, you look kind of dumb if you don't go after Roman Reigns. This is the top guy. This is the real guaranteed main event. This is the guy everyone should want to dethrone. Cody's going to go after Roman. We know that. He's not picking Seth. Punk made a very good case of why he would go after Seth during their back and forth. Now Gunther has made a very good case of why he would go after Seth with this back and forth. So I think it's just more casting doubt on, hey, if Gunther wins, if Punk wins, it might not be Roman. They have a real legitimate reason to go after Seth instead of the foregone conclusion of Roman. Cody, again, still going to be Roman. Those are the top three. Unless Rock does make this surprise appearance, it's hard. I'm hard pressed to be like anybody else is winning this thing besides those three. Because on the SmackDown side, the guys you look at as possible winners are already in the title match.
Right. And I wanted to bring this up too real quick, because this ties in what you just mentioned with like the possibilities of other people maybe winning, which is unlikely. I think it's pretty much Cody or Punk. It's going to probably be one of those two. But so when I was at SmackDown last night or on Friday, and I didn't just realize this at SmackDown, but like it sunk in a little bit more. And this is the one argument I'd make for Cody losing last year at WrestleMania. The only argument I'll make. And it's not really necessarily it's hard. I'm on the fence about this for a lot of reasons, because obviously I want to make it clear Cody should have won, because if Cody would have won last year, now we're a year into a title run that would have seen him defeat Brock Lesnar multiple times, Shinsuke Nakamura, all this other stuff that he's done just would have had the title involved, and it just would have made a lot more sense. And Roman hasn't hardly defended it at all. You all know the reasons that I think Cody should have been the champion already. A lot of people agree with that. So, but what I will say, WWE is at a point right now where I'm more interested in the product, like I said, than I have been in a long time. And it isn't just because of Cody's positioning in the company. They're at a point for the first time in what feels like a long time that their main event scene, even though it's mainly made up of people that have all challenged Roman unsuccessfully, it's worked long term. And those people shouldn't have beaten Roman anyways, outside of Cody. So like, what I mean by this is like, when I was at SmackDown, Jey Uso came out after the show and did a dark match with Finn Balor before Cody and Nakamura closed the show out. And Jey Uso was super over. Like, he was super over. Guys like AJ Styles and Randy Orton are still super over. LA Knight is super over. This is just on SmackDown. Like, you look at Raw and see what they got going on with Cody, and you got Punk, and you got Rollins, and you got Gunther. You got, I think Nakamura is still going at a really high level. You got Drew McIntyre. You got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and those kind of guys still very over. Like, their main event scene is really, like, I don't know what the right word is. They're in a really good spot in their main event scene right now. Like, they've actually built, there's a whole group of people now that are like legitimate main eventers that are all legitimately over. And I gotta give credit. I think, Triple H deserves a lot of credit for this. I think too, of course. But like, I just wanted to give WWE credit for that because it's really been sinking in lately. Where like, I'm enjoying the product more. I've been trying to watch Raw again more lately, and I'll say it really should. They're not going to do it because of the money that they're making with advertising, but like, that should be a 2-hour show, man. Like, I really enjoyed the 2-hour SmackDown. I was like, this is a perfect amount of time for me to be at this WWE show. There's in half of its commercial breaks, to be fair. I mean, there's only like an hour of like anything actually happening. But on Raw, it's like that, but like even more stuff not really happening throughout the show. And it just, by the time the second hour is over, I'm like, this is, by the time Punk and Cody was done, I was like, why is anything even after this? Like, that's where the show should end, and you're ending wanting more versus being like, man, this is taking forever for the show to end now. After I've been up here and I'm kind of down here. So like, but once again, I just want to give credit to the WWE. They've done a very good job of building their current main event scene. Because there's a whole, because the other thing too is once Roman finally loses, and we have like Cody as the champion or whoever the next champion is going to be. And you have this on Raw also with Rollins. He's almost a year into his title run. They've done a good job with that. There's like 5 to 8 people on the roster right now that you could have ready to go right now in main event title matches that could potentially be the champion, and it would make sense. So I got to give him a lot of credit for that. I think that's a really damn good spot for the WWE to be in right now.
I mean, it's a hot product right now.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. They get the Rumble this weekend. The Rumble is obviously one of their bigger shows, second biggest show of the year. All right, so you are pretty steadfast on Cody winning the Rumble, right?
I have to be. I mean, I think if I was like betting actual money on this, I probably wouldn't because
Gunther's the betting favorite. He's actually tied with CM Punk as the betting favorite.
I don't think Gunther's gonna, although Gunther had a great showing last year, going from number 1 all the way to the end. I mean, yeah, I'm going. The thing with like, for him to go back to back would be a big deal because it hasn't happened in so long. When's the last time that happened? Austin.
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah, and then his third one was a couple years later. So, I mean, that'd be a big deal for Cody to go back to back. And even Cody's saying, he's like, man, I'm not trying to listen to all this outside stuff. I'm just focusing on me. He said it after SmackDown in Atlanta. He was like, I'm the right guy for the job. Like I want the position. I want the job, So, but you also, there's a lot of factors at play. And then also, if let's say that Cody doesn't win, and let's say CM Punk, let's say neither of those guys win, and it does wind up being Cody versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. Who wins? Like, I feel like it's got to be Cody, but like, that's because I'm incredibly biased. There, does CM Punk win that thing? Does that derail Cody even more? It's a tough spot to be in being a Cody Rhodes fan right now because last year it was so sure that he was the guy, and they're still talking about finishing the story constantly. So it feels like he's still the guy, and this is still the story, and he's still the one who's going to do it. But there's other factors now. CM Punk's a factor, The Rock's a factor. Other people could get hot. People from NXT might get called up and get hot. I mean, there are other factors. Roman's reign is a factor. That the length that they want him to have the title to beat other people's reigns is a factor. It's very possible Cody and Roman wrestle this year. You brought it up before. It's very possible they run it back and Cody loses again, and he's got to try this again a third time next year at WrestleMania. I mean, I'm not ruling that out at all. But once again, diamond hands, don't flinch. I'm sticking with it. I'm going to go Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble this year. That's going to be my pick on Wrestle Rumble.
I respect your commitment to Cody. Some breaking news here. Kevin Patrick, according to PW Insider, has been released by WWE.
He was just on commentary, like really.
He was on SmackDown commentary, and then he reportedly earlier this week was getting moved off of SmackDown commentary. So I'd expect Michael Cole tomorrow night. And now he's apparently reportedly been outright released.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I mean, I have no idea the reasoning for that. It's pretty strange because he seemed like he was doing a good job from what I could tell. I don't know, maybe not. I didn't hear him a whole lot, to be fair. I know he'd been in the system for a long time, or at least a while.
Internally, it seemed like, based on reports, like I don't know this for sure, I don't talk to anybody, but based on reports internally, they weren't like super thrilled with where things were kind of going there. So outright release him, different story than just remove him off of SmackDown. So yeah, Kevin Patrick has reportedly been released. Best wishes to him, and hopefully he lands on his feet.
Ken Bruno in the chat says Kevin's a great soccer announcer, but never picked up the WWE style. So I never heard him call soccer. Yeah, and that's not just a Kevin Patrick thing. There's been a lot of. I mean, everyone remembers Mike Adamle and all that, but like, who was the one dude? They hired one dude just a couple of years ago who only lasted like 1 or 2 Raws.
Yeah, I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
But these are people that are like very highly respected sports.
He was like an MLB announcer.
Yeah,
I think he might have done hockey as well. But he
Adnan Verk.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you, whoever.
Louis
in
the chat.
Oh, Louis. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
both of them. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah. Adnan Verk. He had done other sports and just couldn't pick up the WWE style and whatever that style is. But some people got it, and then it feels like they've been searching for not Michael Cole's replacement, because Michael Cole is still there and still doing very well. Honestly, doing the best work now that he's not throwing out so many Vince-isms and everything. But like they've been searching for someone that like Cole can kind of groom and lead, and like no one's really been that guy.
Well, it's McAfee, but he's not available.
Well, McAfee's not doing play-by-play though. McAfee's there to
right.
Yeah,
You're right.
McAfee's there to do color. They love him doing that stuff, but play-by-play is a whole different ballgame.
Well, I really meant more from like he's definitely one of like Cole's like McAfee's guy. You know what I mean? Like you can tell Michael Cole really wants McAfee to succeed in commentary when he's there for the WWE. But no, you're right. It's a different type of role. You're right about that. This is more for Kevin. He seems like a nice dude. From the little bit I know about him, this isn't for everybody, but I mean, you can't say they didn't give him a chance. I mean, he got all the way to the main television announce job, and at that point it's sink or swim. It doesn't really, there's really no room for, especially if you're learning on the job. That's a tough thing to do. Be learning out in front of with someone in your ear telling you things constantly while literally millions of people are watching you live, and you're trying to figure it out as you're going. It's a tough spot. It's tougher even like I remember like Mick Foley when he was doing commentary and stuff. He'd be like, "Man, it's tough. Like I've been wrestling forever, but it's like Vince is like yelling in your ear while you're trying to talk, and it's like I couldn't even do it, So, that's interesting. But wonder what'll happen with him going forward. But anything else you want to talk? I mean, we got the actual Royal Rumble. If you want to do some quick predictions for that.
Oh yes. Sorry, I got sidetracked and I had to do the article.
Oh, you're good. Jim's got to work while we do this show.
Yes,
I got to work when I leave the show.
My Rumble prediction, I think it's Cody. I do. I think they're going back to back again, based on what I'm putting a lot of stock into Rock's ESPN interview and possibly waiting a year to do this match against Roman. And I think if you're going to wait the year, I think that Cody is going to win this and face Roman. And it feels like it should be Cody's year. I know I like trolling you, but I want you to be happy, and I want Cody fans to get their moment. And after last year, when it seemed like it was time to not do it this year, that's tough. It does feel like it's Cody's year.
Well, and here's the thing, and it's gonna sound really sad, but like I'm so used to losing that it's like because being a Minnesota Vikings fan, and you get this being a Panthers fan too, but like
we suck.
Yeah, you guys do suck, but We did too. I mean, to be fair, and we have a much better team than you guys do, and we still suck. But I'm so used to every year like getting my hopes up for the Vikings, and like they're never going to win the Super Bowl. They're probably never going to win it in my lifetime. It's never happened. But every season, I get really excited. I get really hyped on the roster. I love Kirk Cousins. I love Justin Jefferson. I love Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson and Danielle Hunter and all these guys. And, I even love Kevin O'Connell, even though in hindsight, it might have been the wrong hire. Jim Harbaugh was in our building and we told him we weren't interested. And now he's back in the NFL and he's going to make us pay for that, I'm sure, and every other NFL team. But my point is that I'm very, very used to just losing. It's like my favorite stuff. It just never actually happens. And that's kind of a depressing thing, but it's just reality. The difference with the Minnesota Vikings and Cody Rhodes is that they can literally decide to have this happen for Cody Rhodes. The Minnesota Vikings, I mean, there's plenty of league script, and it's a whole other conversation how I feel about how gambling and certain sites and stuff have, and I'm not talking trash about gambling. There's, shout out to anybody who wants to do their thing with all that. But my point is, I think that there are things that have swayed things in sports, including the gambling aspect, because certain players know and certain coaches know when you hit certain numbers, then certain payouts happen. So certain people are getting benched at certain times, or they play less minutes. And I think a lot of it has to do with that. So anyway, the point, I don't think all sports are scripted, but there's little things that happen in professional sports, even where you're like, someone's kind of pulling the strings here. This is very weird how this is playing out. In pro wrestling, we know for a fact it is scripted. So it's just a matter of Triple H giving Cody the thumbs up before he goes out there. I mean, and this could also honestly go till the day of WrestleMania, where they do not know who's going to win this thing. But Cody seems to be he's standing strong. He's always making it sound in his promos and in his interviews like, this sounds so pathetic, but it's almost like a cult leader almost, where like Cody's saying it, I just got to believe it, because otherwise, what do I have to believe in when it comes to this? Like he's out there telling me, listen, I'm not listening to all the outside stuff. I'm a Rock fan too, but I thought it was really funny. I was like, I don't think The Rock would just come in and derail a story like this. And I'm like, he's done it before.
Literally done it before. I did like that reference by Punk in the promo.
Yeah,
by the way, I did like that.
He did The Rock to Cody. Yeah. But that's all I can do. I mean, Cody's telling me he's going back to back. Cody's telling me he's finishing the story. Cody's telling me he's not sweating the outside noise. So I need to not do it too. Diamond hands. It's going to be a very common theme in what I'm going to be saying leading up to WrestleMania. Now, if Cody loses at the Royal Rumble, that's going to shift a little bit, because now it's going to be, where's the focus? Probably CM Punk. That's going to make for some fun episodes of this show, because I'm going to have a lot of opinions on the build-up between CM Punk and Cody. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, I've got to go with Cody winning the Royal Rumble again. I've got to go with him winning at WrestleMania and finishing the story. But I'm not confident like I was last year. Last year, I was like, Cody's come back to the Royal Rumble. Like, he's probably going to win this thing. It's his return. They're really hyping this up. He's probably going to win. And then once he won it, I was like, oh, there's no way he's losing at WrestleMania now. Like, this is the perfect time for Roman to lose for this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. Cody's the right guy for this reason, this reason, this reason. And then it still didn't happen. So even though I hope Cody wins the Royal Rumble, I'm still not really until Cody Rhodes is holding that, until Roman is down 1, 2, 3, Cody gets his hand raised and he's holding that title. None of this is real, but there's a better chance of it happening than the Vikings winning the Super Bowl. So at least there's that, I guess.
All right. The women's Royal Rumble, I think it's Bayley.
That's actually my pick also. No joke, because I think that Becky is a bit too obvious.
I think Becky wins Chamber.
Yeah. And Bayley has the tie-in with Io already, with Damage Control. So I that was actually my pick also, Bayley.
Roman wins.
Yeah, I'm going to say Roman retains, but that would be the biggest effing cop-out ever if they had Orton pin AJ or LA Knight and got that title off of or something. If anything happened to get the title off Roman that involved him losing in a 4-way match for this thing, but no, there's no way. But once again, I enjoyed SmackDown. I liked all of them on the show. You know, I enjoyed all 4 of them on the show, including LA Knight. I was doing the yeah with the crowd. So there you go.
Tommy says it's work, like Punk wasn't coming in. There's no way WWE let all the spoilers for the next 3 months leak. This is a build fuel for Cody. Punk wasn't coming in until he was. There was, I mean, that's been confirmed by Punk and Triple H of how last minute that deal came together.
Oh, and Maggie mentioned in the chat, yeah, Cody waved at me. He waved directly at me at SmackDown. And I didn't. So if you look closely enough and you slow down the speed, you can see him clearly saying, "Yo, Jensen," and then he waves at me. And then I cut the camera off. I was freaking out so much that I accidentally stopped recording. And he clearly mouthed something along the lines of like 8:30 Eastern Thursdays. And I was like, yeah, man, he watches the Spotlight. So
I did pop. You had the tweet of the shirt that you got the shirt and everything. And then, you know, because I was tagged in that tweet, I got the notification. I get the notification of like who likes it, who replies to it. And I saw the notification of who liked it. And like, same brain, we both messaged each other at the same time of like, I know you saw this like, and at the same time you messaged me, did you see this like? And it was, yes, Cody liking that tweet. It was literally the exact same time, which was hilarious.
Then he quote tweeted my picture of there was like these kids who had these signs that were great. It said, "Our dads cheered for Dusty, we cheer for Cody." And it was 2 little kids.
Killer Mike was in the audience. You didn't go say hi to Killer Mike?
I was in front row, man. I was up in shout out to the box seats that I get. I'm very, very, very fortunate that my brother is a boxing trainer and has a connection with the State Farm Arena. But so I was up in a box eating free hot dogs. If anybody's ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there's an episode called The Gang Saves the Day. And it's like their own. There's a robbery happening in a gas station, and you get like all of their points of view. They all like daydream separately about like how they would save the robbery. And Frank Reynolds, Danny DeVito's character, just like all he does instead of like trying to actually stop anything, he just goes to the hot dogs and just starts eating as many free hot dogs as he can while the place is getting robbed. That's basically me when I go to these shows. I grab free hot dogs, go sit down, free candy, free drinks, watch the shows. So. But no, I was nowhere near Killer Mike, unfortunately. I saw he was there.
Blockbuster Night Part 2, my go-to Run the Jewels song. Kevin Owens, Logan Paul.
I forgot that match was happening. Yes. I'm going to take Logan.
I think so too. I think he's setting up. By the way, we buried the lead. You're chanting yeah at SmackDown? Are you a LA Knight fan? Are you a Nighter?
I don't view him as a threat anymore. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We had to squash the LA Knight stuff as people were trying to make it sound like him instead of Cody, you know. But now that that's clearly not happening, I can get a little bit more on board.
All right, fair. So I think that's all the Rumble matches I can think of off the top of my head. So if there's anything else, I should probably check the card.
That's all I've got.
No, that's everything. Okay, so maybe they'll add one more.
Nakamura versus Okada.
No, can't do Okada yet. Contract's not.
No, I'm just trolling. But I think
I've said this. I've said this though. If Nakamura does a Rainmaker in the Rumble, Okada's coming. Nakamura predicted CM Punk, so he's a man. He's a man who knows who's actually. He's the real scoopster out here, Shinsuke Nakamura. Anything else from WWE? They signed a deal with Netflix. That happened. That was a big thing.
Yes.
I don't know. We don't have too much time to too deep into the Netflix deal. But yeah, what are your thoughts on them moving to Netflix?
So you're right. You're lagging just a little bit. But I can hear you. The Netflix deal, we touched on it a little bit a little bit earlier, but yeah, that's a humongous deal for the WWE. I recently actually resubscribed to Netflix, I did like the ad version, which I think is like, I don't know, it's like $7-8 or something. And honestly, I don't use it much. I used to use Netflix all the time, just like everyone else did back when they had everything was on Netflix, and it was like $8 a month, and you got like the 2 screens, and you can share it with people or whatever. And but I recently I actually subscribed because I wanted to watch a show called American Vandal, because I'm a fan of this guy Jimmy Tatro because of his show called Real Bros of Simi Valley on YouTube. And I never knew about this other show he did on Netflix. It's basically like a Making a Murderer parody about this kid drawing dicks on like spray painting.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah. So I resubscribed to Netflix actually pretty recently to watch that. And it was a great documentary. I really enjoyed it. Mockumentary, really. But so anyway, so I'm actually back on Netflix, and I told you I was watching some of those like anime basketball shows and stuff just to kind of see what they were all about. But outside of that, honestly, I was considering like getting rid of Netflix again, because it's like there's really not that much on there for me, and I have all these other streaming services now anyways, Peacock and ESPN and Hulu, and even the free ones like Tubi and Pluto TV and all that stuff. There's a ton of apps that I've already got that I watch pretty much everything I want to. That said, it's a no-brainer to be subscribed to Netflix when WWE's on there. I mean, I don't know what the price is going to be, if they're going to like jack things up, or how it's going to work, but I'd imagine that Netflix is going to make a humongous push. I'm just wondering, because it's the first time they're going to have like a weekly episodic, 52 weeks a year live show on Netflix. So how does that look on the layout? I'd imagine it'll be like, you log into Netflix and like the home screen, the gigantic square at the top or something has got to be like live right now, Monday Night Raw. So like people know, because I'd imagine the main reason they're doing this, I mean, $5 billion, 10 years. I'd imagine the big win for both sides is Netflix is still, I haven't looked, but I think Netflix is still probably the most subscribed app. Like as far as like streaming app, or if not, it's way up there still. And everybody name associates streaming media with Netflix. Netflix and chill. People call things Netflix that aren't even Netflix. It's almost like a Coca-Cola. Like, you want to go get a Coke? Well, you're actually drinking a Sierra Mist or whatever, but you're calling it a Coke. Same kind of thing with Netflix. To a degree, it has that brand recognition as being like the streaming platform forever. But it's also probably bleeding a lot of subscribers because of things that I've mentioned with like price hikes and losing content. When they lost like The Office, it was like, y'all lost The Office. That's why like a lot of people were subscribed to this. People still watch The Office, stuff like that. But the win there is that they're probably bleeding some subscribers for various reasons. And WWE is just looking for a big move. Like, where could we go where there's already a lot of people subscribed somewhere? So Netflix already has a lot of subscribers, but they're also losing subscribers. But Netflix is going to gain a lot of subscribers because there's probably a lot of people that are wrestling fans that aren't subscribed to Netflix because they might not be using their money elsewhere with, Fight Plus, Triller Plus, or IWTV or Peacock and stuff where they're watching their wrestling. Now they're going to actually have to subscribe to Netflix. So I think there's going to be a big influx of wrestling fans subscribing to Netflix, and that's going to help kind of like the bleeding or whatever, and maybe even be a positive. Like the people that maybe for every person that they lose to, the price deal, they might gain 2 wrestling fans that, have watched Raw their whole lives and now they got to watch it on Netflix. So I think it's smart ultimately. And I've been asking for this for years, not necessarily specifically for Netflix, but I wanted WWE to run Raw and SmackDown and stuff off the WWE network for, when the network was announced and when that was the only place the pay-per-views were streaming and stuff. So, yeah, I think it makes sense. Netflix was a little surprising because of the kind of the state Netflix is in, like perception wise. I feel like it's kind of been falling off, but that's just my own perception. Like business wise, Netflix is probably still the top dog in streaming. So it probably makes sense across the board.
It's a big swing for Netflix in that they don't do a whole lot of live programming. They did a couple live comedy specials. They tried to do a reality live show, which was a complete disaster. As a Love Was Blind fan, I was very much looking forward to the live reunion, and it was a disaster.
Like the streaming wasn't good?
It didn't start on time. It didn't end up being live because they could not get their shit together. Like, it was terrible. Like, we were all tuned in, and it was like, oh, we're having trouble with the stream. We're having trouble. Like, it didn't work. And then finally, they just aired it like kind of tape delay type of thing. It wasn't live at all, though. It wasn't good. They got a year to figure it out. I imagine they'll get things in place by then to figure it all out. WWE obviously has plenty of experience live streaming and things like that, so they know what they're doing on that side. It's up to Netflix to pull their weight over there. I think it's beneficial for both parties. I know it takes them out of like international TV deals now because everything's just on Netflix. Like if you're overseas, you want to watch Raw instead of tuning into whatever ITV, I think is what they have
IWTV.
over there. Yeah, I don't think it's IWTV.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just defaulted to IWTV. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's like ITV over there.
Yeah.
Like now you're not doing that because it's like, well, Raw's on Netflix. So you take yourself out of like those like minor international deals for basically an all-encompassing deal. And, I don't know if that's good or bad. I think monetarily, maybe it lowers things a little bit because you can probably build those smaller deals to make up, the whole 500 billion, but like 500 billion is a big ass number. I'm sure they looked at that and thought well of that, and Netflix needed something they wanted to get into the live realm. I do look forward to the crossover stuff. I think that'll be very interesting of what they do. The shoulder programming, as they like to call it. Netflix had a lot of success with like documentaries and things like that. Animated stuff, which WWE and Netflix have partnered with before. So I think you'll see more of that as well. I think there's a lot of potential in that realm that people are maybe not focusing on because they're just like, oh, okay, Raw is on the show, but like they're gonna do like animated kids show and all this stuff, and that's gonna boost people to go watch Raw and things like that. So, I think it's a beneficial deal. We'll see. It doesn't kick in until another year. We'll see how it all plays out. Before we move on to AEW, which we'll quickly kind of run through here, guys, remember, leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. Get entered to be part of the CM Punk Pick'em and the Royal Rumble Pick'em. All you got to do is leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. All right, let's get into AEW.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. It was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
Wrestling heavy episode of AEW last night. A lot of great one-on-one matches. The rankings are back. Which would have been my spotlight, but we'll kind of tie that into yours as well because you messaged me and then I was trying to sleep by that point last night. But Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland have a dealer's choice match next week. They get to pick each other's opponents. Who are you thinking for these respective matches?
Honestly, like I'm kind of been blanking because like I don't know if it's going to be someone in AEW already or if they're going to bring someone from the outside. You know what I mean? That just makes it to where there's a lot of options. Who has the most history with Hangman in AEW that's available that Swerve would want against him?
Brian Cage.
But do you think that's who they're going to go with?
That was honestly my initial thought. It was Brian Cage.
Dude, that's actually the perfect choice. You're totally right. It's probably going to be him because he's beaten Hangman before, like really early on in AEW. They've had somewhat of a feud with one another. And he's got the tie-in with Mogul Embassy with Cage, of course, and Swerve. I was going to sit here and like really kind of start going down like some roster, like try to kind of process of elimination here a little bit. But I think that's it. I actually think Brian Cage is the right choice. And then against Swerve, see, like I would have picked probably like Keith Lee if he was, but he's out with his health again. So for Swerve, is AR Fox available? I'm just trying to think of people who
Fox is available.
Maybe you do AR Fox because of like AR Fox hasn't been seen in a while, has he?
He showed up at one point and got beat up. That's all I remember. I think Wardlow beat him up. See, I'm with Maggie of like why wouldn't you pick somebody like Moxley and Danielson to face this person? Like I would pick, definitely one of those like top guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick, no offense to Brian Cage and AR Fox, but like, yeah, I would pick the top guy out there.
I think Moxley is a good choice. A-Shot keeps saying Brian Keith. Listen, I love the Bounty Hunter. I doubt it's him. Plus, I believe he's still in Japan, so I don't think that's happening unless he's back. But I did see Brian Keith. It seems to have some sort of agreement with AEW, which if that's true, I'm very, very happy for him. But I think Moxley's a good choice. Moxley's actually a good choice against either guy, but more specifically against Hangman because of their history. But man, I think you're right. I think Brian Cage is probably, but I think Brian Cage or Moxley are both good choices. But I'm kind of stuck on AR Fox for Swerve because of their history.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. AR Fox for that one. Louis got it right. Goldberg, Sid would rule. Sid would go into business for himself. Just he'd win immediately. Ken Shamrock. Why not bring in like a UFC fighter? What's Cain Velasquez up to?
I think he's free.
Yeah.
I think
pick Cain Velasquez.
What do you know what his standing is right now?
I don't.
Because you know what happened, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because like that was the wildest thing ever. People don't know. We're not going to deep dive into that, but like Cain Velasquez, that was the weirdest thing ever. She shot at a guy who had assaulted a minor that he knew. I mean, it was a very understandable. Like, I'm not one who's like out there like go around shoot people and stuff. Like, trust me, I don't even want people with guns around me unless and I know plenty of people who carry guns. I live in Georgia, but like. The Kane thing was so strange. I'm glad that he's not in jail anymore. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But when he brought that up, I was just thinking, yeah, we haven't really seen him do really hardly anything. I think he actually cornered someone in the UFC though the other week.
Okay.
Like they let him back. So like things had to be on the up and up at least with that. Like once again, I understand where Kane was coming. I can't even imagine something like that happened to like someone that I love. Like I'm not going to judge based on that. That was a very unique situation.
Junior Dos Santos, bring him back.
Start bringing in the people that worked AEW during the Dan Lambert feuds.
Yeah.
Jorge Masvidal.
Masvidal. Isn't he fighting again? What's Nate Diaz doing? Bring him
Actually,
in.
I think Masvidal is doing a boxing match against maybe Nate. Is that what they're doing? Nate and Masvidal?
Oh, are they?
Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe not. I think Masvidal's boxing though soon. I think I saw something about that. But anyway, yeah, that's super off topic, but yeah, and then also, I mean, speaking of like surprises, I'll just throw it out there. I definitely didn't expect to see an announcement about Yuji Nagata wrestling Bryan Danielson.
Yeah,
that came out of nowhere. The first thing I thought about was WCW NWO Revenge. Like I used to play Yuji Nagata all the time, or play against him even more specific. I used to beat him up all the time. But yeah, so it could be. That's my point. Is it could be anyone. I mean, I'm thinking kind of in a box of like who makes sense. AR Fox makes sense. Brian Cage makes sense. Moxley makes sense. But like it could be Yuji Nagata. It could be Ultimo Dragon. Who knows?
The Ultimo Dragon would rule.
Oh, I'd mark out so hard for Ultimo Dragon and AEW. I would love that.
Yeah. The rankings are back. Jensen, I want to quickly get your thoughts on AEW bringing back the rankings.
I mean. If CM Punk's the reason they got rid of him in the first place, and I guess it makes sense they're bringing him back. I'm trolling. I think CM Punk could have maybe influenced that because I think that CM Punk was definitely. I shouldn't say I think CM Punk was definitely in Tony Khan's ear while he was there, but and it's not that far fetched to believe. CM Punk got his own television show for Collision. Like I could believe that it's possible that he asked Tony to get rid of the rankings, and Tony was like, you know what, that's probably a good idea for us to do that. So that said, I'm trolling a little bit here, guys. I think that I don't think there's necessarily a need for the rankings because it pigeonholes a lot of stuff because you have to make the rankings make sense to some degree as far as like if you want to do a title match, then you have to have somebody winning like random matches leading up to the title match to get them in the rankings high enough to get a title shot. So there's a little bit of like convolution or whatever you want to call it, like with that aspect of it. I don't necessarily hate the idea though of like the sports-based presentation and like a clear, like it makes even more sense with Samoa Joe as the champion with how things currently are because you have like 5 people right now that are all saying they want title shots that all have some sort of reason would make sense for them to get title shots. So really the best way to figure things out would be a ranking system. Like if Hangman and Swerve and Hook and Wardlow and all these guys want title shots, then you can figure that out with a ranking system. you know? So, and Samoa Joe's the kind of champion, the way he's already been presenting himself, which I really, really like his run so far as champion. I just love that he's saying, like, if you want, and this is perfect for the rankings, if you want a shot, I'm not hiding from anyone. Call me out and get in line. Hook had his shot, shook his hand like a man, told him to get out of his ring because he's not worthy, because he couldn't get the job done. He's in the back of the line now, but he got his shot. If there was a ranking system, Hook wouldn't have gotten that shot. Well, maybe he would have because of his record.
Yeah, his record. That was Tony's whole argument on Twitter, was his record was good enough.
True. But now he's going to be towards the back of that, you know, like not the bottom of the full rankings, but he'll be, you know, he won't be in the number 1 or spot. He'll maybe be at like somewhere between 5 and 10 or something. But yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. It's just sometimes you have to, it'll pigeonhole things, and sometimes you have to just kind of make weird things work so that the rankings make sense, so you can do title shots, if that makes sense.
I'm very curious to how it works with now new titles introduced and no dark and dark elevation to like really pad out those records, because they did a lot of record padding on those shows. And now, I mean, maybe they put guys on ROH to pad some records. I hope there's more weight into television wins and losses. No offense to ROH, no even big offense to like Rampage. Like a win on Dynamite or Collision should probably mean a little bit more than a win, certainly on ROH, where you're probably just padding a record out.
Well, kind of a different company.
Yeah, and then a little bit on Rampage as well. Although Rampage, they've been putting on some important matches and stuff, so I don't want to fully dismiss Rampage on that. But I would just like some extra weight. And even if it's, you know, television win, like, you know, Wardlow, if he beats 10 guys, but none of those 10 guys ever win on television, and then Jon Moxley beats Eddie Kingston, that one win over Eddie Kingston should probably mean more than Wardlow's victory over 10 guys who are never on television and never win anyway. So I would like to just see a little bit more weight to it. How they decide that, don't know. They've got different ways. I look forward to it. You can tell stories with the rankings. I don't necessarily think you need the rankings to tell these stories. I think you can just tell them without pushing the rankings on people. But it's a nice visual representation of what they're trying to do. So I don't mind it in that way. All right. Yeah. Guys, last call for Wrestle Rumble. Leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. Again, all you got to do is leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat, and you get a free entry into the CM Punk Pick'em, where the first place is $666, and a free entry into the Royal Rumble Pick'em, where first place is $500. You have a chance to win over $1,000 if you take first place in both of these contests, and all you did was leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. So that's all you got to do. Last call for the Wrestle Rumbles, and then we will get to drawing here in a second. Jensen, you want to go ahead and plug anything?
Yeah, well, thanks everyone for throwing Wrestle Rumbles in the chat. We're going to put your name in a list, and we're going to pick 3 names in a second. You're going to win everything Jeremy just put up there. I shot at 666 and I shot at 500 in both those pick'ems this weekend. If you win, please just DM me on Twitter. I'll open my DMs here in a second if they're not already open. Please just DM me before the end of SmackDown tomorrow. That's all I ask. Preferably just right after the show if you can. But I'll make sure that I just need a DM from you and just need to get your email address, and the Wrestle Rumble will do the rest. They'll send you your entry on Saturday before the show. So I'll also mention real quick, since we have a couple extra minutes, and I wanted to bring this up as well, because we only had time to talk about WWE and AEW today, with obviously this being a big Royal Rumble weekend and everything going on with Cody and Punk and everything. I wanted to say rest in peace to Francisco Ciazzo, who passed away last week. He was only 48 years old, and he was a big like staple of independent wrestling, especially in the Southeast scene, more specifically in like Florida and Georgia. He'd even done stuff in NWA TNA back in the day. He'd done stuff at the WCW Power Plant. He'd been a guest trainer at the PC before. He was a trainer at WWN, World Wrestling Network, as of recent, like before he passed. and he was the subject of a documentary called Journeyman, which you guys can watch for free on YouTube if you want to check it out. So I just wanted to say, rest in peace to Siaso today, because I know there was a lot of people that have been really affected by the passing, and it seemed like it was very unexpected. Like from what it sounds like, he just wasn't feeling good one night, went to sleep and didn't wake up, and that's just super, super sad. So rest in peace. And then also, as Jared mentioned in the chat, thank you for saying this, so I didn't forget, rest in peace to Ice Train, the guy I remember from WCW. I remember him and Scott Norton back in the day.
Fire and Ice, baby.
Fire and Ice, absolutely. So yeah, rest in peace to Ice Train. Go on Twitter and just type in Ice Train. There's people that have been sharing videos of him and pictures and other wrestlers, like giving him tributes and stuff. So rest in peace, everybody. Think about our fallen, I guess, kind of heroes in a lot of ways. Like, these are people that we grew up watching. Siazo really big in the indie scene, and Ice Train was a guy that I watched growing up. I was a huge WCW kid, so yeah, it's a bummer, but rest in peace. And Maggie, we'll talk about the job next. We'll talk about the job next week. We didn't have time this week. I got some good news yesterday, but we'll talk a little bit more about it next week. Thank you for asking, though.
Ken Bruno left a super chat, says, this is my first time listening to this particular Fightful show. I'm enjoying it. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken. We're here every Thursday morning, 8:30 Eastern. We're an early show, and if you can't catch us live, we're on demand. But thank you.
This is not our usual format as well. Usually we do touch on what we call the other topics, which some New Japan, TNA, ROH, MLW promotions like that, and the indies as well. We like to spotlight some indie stuff. We went WWE heavy with Rumble and all the news with Netflix, and then, as you may have learned, Stephen Jensen is a big time Cody Rhodes fan and a notorious CM Punk hater. So their showdown this Monday was a big topic as well. But we like to bounce around and cover a lot of different stuff, not just WWE and AEW.
Well, and today too, as you're going to hear, Ken, if you stick around, part of the reason too is we have pretty much an MLW and independent spotlight coming up here in a second. We have a like 45-minute long, or however, is that about how long it was?
It's like 50 minutes.
Like 50 minutes with Alex Kane. You're about to hear that we recorded on Tuesday. He's the MLW World Champion, the Action Wrestling World Champion. So if you want more indie and kind of like other spotlights that you didn't get today that we normally would go over, you got a whole interview coming up with the MLW and Action World Champion. So please stick around if you like that kind of stuff.
All right, doing the drawings now. Our first winner is Rima T. Rima T is one. So message Jensen, Remy T.
Remy T. DM me.
Our second winner is such a good username, by the way. Sofa Kit.
Yeah.
I use that in
Sofa
trivia.
Kit.
Yeah. So Sofa Kit.
Okay. Sofa Kit, DM me.
Yeah. And the third and final winner is Tim Winger Jr. So Tim, Sofa, and Remy, make sure to send Jensen a message on Twitter. He will get you hooked up. There you go. He put it in the chat.
Just put it in the chat for you guys. So
he'll get you hooked up with the entries to get into the CM Punk Pick'em and the Royal Rumble Pick'em. All right, guys, we're gonna head over to Jensen. Any last plugs? Anything like that?
Just follow me on X and message me on X for the. I'm doing my security right now. Where's the thing at? Security and account access. No, privacy and safety. I think that's it. Yeah, direct messages. Allow from everyone. Boom. Okay, my DMs are open. If you want an entry, DM me, please, like now if you can. And if not, if you don't DM me by the end of SmackDown on Friday, I got to give the entry to someone else. So if you won, please hit me up on X. Enjoy the interview with Alex Kane. I'm gonna go log in for the shoot job. Oh, and also shout out Black Italian Stallion fights tonight. Rough and Rowdy, our boy Black Italian Stallion. He's been on the show. He's fighting Rough and Rowdy tonight. I believe it's on Barstool or it's either Barstool's website or Rough and Rowdy's website. So I'll be watching that tonight when I'm getting off work. So shout out to the Black Italian Stallion Joe for his match. His boxing match tonight. And I don't know if you even knew this, Jeremy, but his last his last match that we before we interviewed him, he actually rocked a Spotlight logo on his walkout gear. I gave him a PNG so he could wear the logo. So
I did not know that. I
yeah,
saw that
cool.
he unfortunately did not win that fight.
He didn't win. He got knocked out last time. But
yeah.
the problem is he gets like 3 or 4 opponents every time because people keep pulling out. He never knows who's going to fight. So like this happened this time too. I don't even know who his opponent is because it was someone. It was changed again like this week. So anyway, no excuses. Black Italian Stallion tonight, rough and rowdy. I'm gonna clock in for work. I'm already 5 minutes late. I'm probably gonna get in trouble. See you guys.
That promotion's not happening now.
Yeah, because of this. I know, right? See you guys.
Bye, Jensen. All right, everybody. Let's get to our interview with Alex Kane, MLW World Heavyweight Champion Alex Kane. We talk about his upcoming match against Satoshi Kojima, which happens MLW SuperFight next Saturday, February 3rd. That'll be on Triller, presented by Fight. We also talk a lot of action wrestling and just everything going on in the world of MLW and really action. So really fun interview. Alex Kane was very gracious with his time. I've spoken to Alex multiple times. This is the first time Jensen has been part of my interviews, I guess, with Alex. And Jensen was very excited to talk, of course, about the action wrestling and the more of the local independent stuff. And Alex seemed to be really appreciative of that because I'm sure it's just a lot of MLW stuff. And so we went away from that. Of course, talked about MLW, but we hit some other stuff as well. So hopefully everybody enjoys this interview. We appreciate Alex Kane for giving us time. Here we go, everybody. In the Creator Spotlight, MLW World Heavyweight Champion Alex Kane.
Welcome to the Creator Spotlight here on the Spotlight on Fightful. I am Stephen Jensen, joined as always by Jeremy Lambert. Our guest today is the captain of the Bomaye Fight Club. He is the Action Wrestling World Champion, the MLW World Champion, the Suplex Assassin. He's going to be defending his title at MLW SuperFight February 3rd against Satoshi Kojima. Alex Kane, the Suplex Assassin, joins us. How you doing, Alex?
I am good. That was a great introduction. No one ever mentions the Action World title.
So, you're talking to the right man here.
Yes.
You're talking to the right man when it comes to action. Before we jump into that one, thank you for joining us, Alex. Good to talk to you again. Before we jump into the action stuff, let's talk about Satoshi Kojima, MLW SuperFight, taking on a former MLW World Champion. The first and former. Looking to be the first ever two-time MLW champion. I know you're going to prevent that. How you feeling about this matchup? And his bread. How you feeling about that?
In my book, Satoshi Kojima is a carboholico. Everybody gets a nickname. He's a carboholico. But no, outside of that, this is one of the matches that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. He's on the list of Bomaye. So to be able to cross him off, him being a legend is going to make it that much sweeter. And I'm ready to go in here and do work.
Now you got to watch out for the flying elbow to the penis. This is a famous move that he has done. Are you prepared for this?
I might have to, actually, now that you said I might have to buy a cup. Maybe with a cup with a spike on it that I can deploy with a button. So when he comes, boop.
It's like the Bret Hart, Bill Goldberg strategy with the plate for the spear.
Yes.
It's going to be protected. I like it. Well, hey, so speaking of that, Kojima being former MLW champion, first MLW champion, trying to be the first person to ever be a two-time MLW champion as well. The lineage of that title, what's it mean for you to be that champion for Major League Wrestling, Alex? Because even especially in recent years, we had like an 800-day plus reign from Fatu. We had like a 600-day plus reign from Hammerstone. So, when you get that title, people have high expectations, and we've seen a lot of long-term champions. So it's like being the champion of MLW.
It's pretty dope, man. I think I said when I won the belt, I was an usher in a new era of MLW, new generation of MLW. And I feel like just kind of the landscape of the company has changed for the better, definitely for the better. It wasn't bad before, but it's different now. And I really, really enjoy it. And then, just being a champion and, being able to provide that representation for people that look like me. And then also for, the people that are also in the LGBTQ community, because I'm also part of that community, is really, really dope. Being able to have, some of the local Black wrestlers from the surrounding areas right now really right. I mean, right now, really Philly and New York, but hopefully when we do get on the road, more of people like that. That's really been dope. I think that's really added to the presentation of being a world champion. The Bomaye Fight Club, like it feels like a real fight club, and it's become a movement. I remember when I first said Bomaye Fight Club's a movement, like I was kind of just saying it because it felt cool to me, it felt right to me, but over time, leading up to the title reign and with every title defense, every segment, like all of those things, I feel like it's become more and more and more of a movement.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Jeremy, go ahead.
I was going to ask about WTF as they are targeting you, as they actually tried to recruit you on MLW Reload, and you tore the contract up.
Yeah.
They can't beat you, so now they want you to join them. Who are you looking out for in WTF now? You've taken them all out, but there's a guy named Josh Bishop out there.
Yeah, Josh Bishop, that boy is strong. He's strong. He ain't very experienced, but he's strong. So he got that. He has that going for him. He could be a credible threat. Here in the future, we'll see. He gonna fall just like the rest of them that keep coming in. Whoever they bring in, I'm knocking them off. Like I'm like a sniper out here. Bink, 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 headshots all day.
Yeah, there's plenty of challenges for you too over there in MLW. Great roster you got over there. And I just wanted to kind of follow up with the Bomaye Fight Club a little bit because with it being such a movement, I guess, can you dive any more into just kind of in your own head, kind of as the rise was happening, because it was a very organic thing that happened. I've been aware of you from the indies for a long time. I've actually seen you live at shows in Atlanta, like Battle Slam and stuff. I've in Action Wrestling. So I've been a fan for quite a while, but it feels like the MLW, the whole movement with Bomaye, it was super organic. And just how was that whole rise for you? Because it didn't just happen for you in MLW, it happened on the independent scene simultaneously.
I think it's so I guess two things. So Emilio Sparks had challenged me, I think it was a year or two ago, to figure out a character. And it was such a if I guess when he first said it or whatever, because you can wrestle, but you need that that intangible thing to make you stand out. And it was very, very hard to figure out. And having the Bomaye Fight Club and being the Bomaye Fight Club captain, I really just tapped into being a captain, of a fight team, of a fight club. And so I feel like, though I wouldn't call myself so much of a character. I call myself more of a persona. Because I draw a lot from Clubber Lang, Deion Sanders, Marshawn Lynch, what's his name, Chad Ochocinco, guys like that are there are characters, but they're also personas. They're relatable. You wanna go wild like they go wild. So that's kind of what I kind of leaned into. And then I also kind of moved away from the classic babyface heel thing. I'm, as my late friend would always say, she would always say that I'm a great asshole. I'm a great asshole. But it's relatable enough to where it's not yeah, this guy, he did some cheating stuff or whatever, that's shitty, but I still think he's cool. So I think that kind of added to the whole the rise of everything. Though I talk a bunch of trash and people normally hate that, just the charisma just kind of just shines through, and there's not much you can do about that. So with I think the moment that kind of capped everything off for the Bomaye Fight Club was the cheesesteak slap. I felt before that, I felt like it was rumbling, but I think once that happened and that kind of took off the way it took off, I think that's when we like had them. It's like, okay, this dude's funny. He's a little bit of an asshole, but he's our asshole.
Well, and you're a badass in-ring wrestler, which obviously like ties it all together, because then you can back it up in the ring. And they did. I think MLW and yourself, I think everyone did a great job with like the whole presentation of like your rise and everything, and you know, taken out kind of step by step, like you really rose the ranks of MLW on the way up to the championship. And as far as the Fight Club goes, what do you look for in people that you recruit into the group? Because it's an ever growing group. We see a lot of like changing faces and stuff. We've even seen a friend of the show, Muscle Man Malcolm. We've seen him in your squad before out there. So how do you find people to join up with you?
I try to. I mean, like Malcolm was one of those deals where it was like he's always there doing media. Yeah. And we've kind of became buddies like through TikTok. So I was just like, this would be a really, really dope opportunity for you if you're able to like film any of this stuff. And it would be a dope opportunity for me because you have more followers than I do. So if people see this, people definitely gonna get, there's definitely gonna be some crossover there. But as far as like for people that are on the fight train, like I want as much as I can to be like a beacon representation. So if I can get your face on this television screen or whatever, when we're doing, you know, the Fight TV stuff or the Fusion stuff or the Reload stuff or whatever, you know, show they come up with, like that's cool to me. Like when people that are in the fight train get, you know, when I see them get like tweeted at by people like, oh snap, oh he's in the fight train, oh she's in the fight train, stuff like that. That's cool to me because that gives them a little bit of a rub. So like as far as like, you know, core people, so you got Bougie, you have Thomas, and you have O'Shea. Like O'Shea I've known for forever. It's funny enough, we always say me and O'Shea are so alike. We're basically the same person. Just I have hair up here and he has hair on his face. He's and like, I mean, it's true. Like we are very much alike in like styles and stuff like that. So I definitely needed like I kind of call him like a mercenary. And then like Bougie is just like, he can talk, he's scrappy, and he's coachable. O'Shea's coachable also, but Bougie's really, really coachable. And Bougie was repping the Bomaye Fight Club before he even got the opportunity to have that tryout match with Thomas. And I really, really respected that. So like, you know, to be coachable, to be hardworking, to be hard hitting, to be good at what you do. And, you know, just to have that Bomaye vibe, like we be out there cutting up and having a good time. You got to be able to follow along with that.
You mentioned being a leader, and when we spoke before Slaughterhouse, and we talked about being a locker room leader, and you said you want to foster have a chill environment. So how would you assess how you're doing as a locker room leader? And then there's been some changes in MLW as far as new talent coming in. There's always foreign talent coming in. Minoru Suzuki came in, he's coming back. Matt Riddle is there now. So what is the locker room like? And then how would you assess things as being the locker room leader?
Things are actually very chill. They're actually very chill. There's no as Ricky Champagne likes to put it, there are no dickheads in the locker room. I honestly I could be a little bit more like assertive because if you can't see it on screen, but I am a shy person in real life sometimes. But like if I can kind of break out of that a little bit or whatever and just like, you know, assume not authority, but like what kind of authority. Like I don't want to be a dictator or anything like that. Like I want everybody. It's an even playing field. But you know, if I can kind of break out some of that shyness or whatever and like do more of those like pre-show talks and stuff like that, because most of the time I just be delegating stuff. I'll be delegating stuff to Ricky or whatever. But yo, you do that or whatever. I'm gonna go put my boots on or something. Yeah, I got to do less delegating and more like, okay, this is what we doing.
I had just kind of a random follow-up about the shyness, because I think that's very relatable. I think a lot of us, even like myself, I'm very shy in like in public. Like you might not know it because I talk to people here, but it's similar to wrestlers. I know. And for you, and this is very this is very random that I remember this, but I've seen you live, as I mentioned, at Battle Slam, and one of those shows was in a mall. And Battle Slam always starts late. Shout out Baron Black. Shows always start late though. And I remember like you were just like walking around the mall in a singlet for probably hours before the show started. Like is that like for someone that's shy, like, is that just like you're just so used to it that like that doesn't even faze you anymore? Because for me, I'd be like, man, like none of these people even know me. And I'm just like this random guy. People don't even know wrestling is happening here. It's on like the back of this mall. So is that something that just kind of breaks you out of your shell? Like just wrestling in general, just you're just a different guy, kind of like when you know you got to be, you know, Alex Kane, the suplex assassin.
Yes, it's like a switch. Like when I put on my gear, it's like a switch. It's like, okay, it's showtime. Like that's the first level of like, you know, okay, I'm clocked into being Alex Kane. The complete transformation comes on when I hear that music. But yeah, like that's basically what it is. Like once I put like any part of my gear on, like I'm out of like, you know, me in everyday life, and I'm tapped into who Alex Kane is. Because Alex Kane is basically like everything I've always wanted to be in real life, but like I guess couldn't be. So like now that I have the opportunity to be that, I'm gonna be that.
That's cool. And you also mentioned your theme music. You always have cool theme songs. All your theme songs are cool. Like, can you just kind of talk a little bit about that? Like the people that do your music and kind of your selection, because you're one of the few guys that even on the indie scene, like with your like custom theme music and stuff, which is really cool.
So when I first started wrestling at the WWE 4, we would always have like music issues. Like they would always try to play something from YouTube, and it would always mess up. And the artist that made my song, Lacey the Great, he also performed at what was it? I think it was the night I won the title or whatever. He performed the song. He came up to me and was like, hey, look, I can make you a really dope song. So we made the first song, and I was like, I want that like gold standard Shelton Benjamin feel to it or whatever. That song, the song that he made then has never been heard. It was heard by people at WA4, but I never like used it anywhere.
Okay.
Other than that. And then the second song, the Suplex Assassin song, not the Bomaye, but the one that everybody loved the action so much.
Yes.
That song, he was like, yo, I was like, can we kind of redo it or whatever? And he was like, yo, let me do this with my own style. He freestyled the whole thing. So that was the song for the longest time, up until I got signed to MLW. And then when the whole like Bomaye Fight Club thing came together, I was still using that song, and I was just like, I want something that says Bomaye, because I want to train these people to chant Bomaye. So we went to the studio, and I actually got to, you know, sit in with him and the producer, and we actually put it all together. And I think we had to do it like once or twice, because the first time the intro was too long, and then we shortened the intro. But like that was a really, really dope process. Actually, on the end of the song, like you can hear my voice, because he's like, I want you to say something on the track, and I was like, but what do I say? But I just said like the mission is submission, but like it was a really, really dope experience. But everybody still loves the Suplex Assassin song more than this song.
It's a great song. It's very, very catchy. Both I like them both though. The second one reminds me a bit of like the Gucci Gang song, like Gucci Gang. It's like Bomaye, Bomaye, Bomaye. You know what I mean? So I like that. It gets stuck in your head, which I think is kind of the point. Is like Bomaye is stuck in your head when you see that song, and people can bounce around to it and stuff. So yeah, I love it.
I want to ask about the length of some of the title matches. You know, the last two have been short, but the match with Fatu, I believe, was the longest MLW World title match in history, and like by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah,
like the other ones were about a little over 20 minutes. Everything. This doubled that. What was it like just going through that match where most of your matches are, you know, maybe less than 20 minutes, and again, all the MLW title matches are largely less than 20 minutes. This was nearly 50 minutes. Like what was that match going through that match like?
It was rough. Like there's no real way to prepare for anything like that. Because like you have like a bit of your game plan, but like most of the time your game plan is, your game plan is, I guess, like charted out for maybe 20 minutes. That's when you want to that's trying to get out of there. But to kind of have to go, past that normal limit. Honestly, it was the most fun. It was probably the most fun match I've ever had in a very long time, and it was a lot of fun for everybody there watching. Like a lot of people were saying it was the best match that they've ever seen in that building from MLW. So like, most fun, exciting, all these twists and turns, and being out there with the fucking athlete monster like Jacob Fatu was insane. That man is I don't understand how he's so damn strong. I don't get it. He don't work out. I know he don't work out. But it's that Samoan blood. It ain't no damn joke.
You're just putting on this man on blast for not working out at all.
Yeah, putting Jacob Fatu on blast.
Does nothing? You've never seen him in the gym?
I've never seen him in the gym. I mean, I don't think he needs to. Honestly. I don't want him to. Because if he does start doing that, he's gonna be on a whole other level. He's gonna be God tier. He's already God tier. He's gonna be like Odin tier. It's gonna be fucking insane.
Well, from one guy who doesn't go to the gym to a guy who goes to the gym often, your next big title defense was against Matt Cardona. What was that experience like? Because you were talking about Muscle Man Malcolm having a lot of followers. Matt Cardona's got millions of followers, so a lot of eyes were on him.
Cardona actually got me at 6,000 followers through his asshole ways on Twitter. So I can shake his hand on that one. But no, bro, that was like social media wise, that was the most fun that I've ever had on social media going into any match. Like just like the back and forth, the amount of messages that I got from people from here in my home state in Georgia, telling me, "Oh man, this back and forth that y'all got going is awesome. It's amazing." From other people on social media and stuff like that. And that whole feud kind of changed my mind on building up these matches. So like when I wrestled. When we were building the match between me and Holiday, like that, I still wanted that back and forth, but he's lame when it comes to social medias, so I couldn't get that out of him. Yeah, hopefully, I'm definitely not getting that of Kojima. I know that.
Kojima will, if you bait him in with some bread talk, he might get him. He might
ask for you know what? I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna tell him that bread is garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what's your favorite type of bread, Alex? Do you have? I mean, I know you said it was garbage, but if you had to choose a favorite bread,
oh man, sourdough.
So maybe you can just spam sourdough. You can just put a bunch of sourdough over to just at Kojima with them. I mean, everyone who sees this right now, just flood Kojima on social media. Just at what's it? The sleep cozy lariat.
Cozy lariat.
And yeah, just let it be known that Alex Kane is a team sourdough. So
team sourdough. Man, Kojima's probably like team white bread or something like that. something processed. Processed.
Phil, do a video, cut the crust off the bread. Kojima is like a bread purist. He's like, you got to have the crust on there. You can't cut the crust off. So just do that. He'll be really mad that like you don't respect the crust on the bread. That's all you got to do.
Were you this is kind of you mentioned Richard Holiday as well briefly there. As far as were you surprised to see him back in MLW? Like
I was surprised to see him back. He's also another person that I've wanted to wrestle since I got into MLW. So it was dope to see him. It's dope to see him back. It was sad to see him make the worst signing decision in the history of the sport, signing with WTF. That was a terrible decision. If he didn't do that, I probably would have been a little bit more excited. But the fact that he did that, it's just kind of like, have you seen their track record? Have you seen their track record?
It's not looking too good. It's not looking too good. Yeah.
I used to hype this man up. I used to say this man could be a GQ model all the time, every time I saw him. And then he does that. It didn't work out for him, so it's all good.
Yeah, every time they've tried to come up against you, you've just knocked them all down. So
knock them down.
It's not to go well. What was it like?
I'm glad Kojima didn't join up with the World Titan Federation. Oh man, what do we call them? The World Tanning Bed Federation.
What was it like teaming with Matt Riddle and having him back in MLW?
Yeah, so teaming with Riddle was cool. I'm getting better at tag team wrestling because it's a whole different beast from singles competition. But like that was again that was some of the most fun I've ever had in a tag team match setting. Like it felt very, very Memphis. Felt very, very like Memphis wrestling. It was just a lot of fun. Riddle's legit as legit as they come. I can only imagine that at some point he gonna try to challenge for the belt. As long as he don't join WTF, we good. We can duke that out. I'm gonna beat that ass. We can duke that out.
Jensen, if you wanna go fire away with the action wrestling questions, the floor is yours.
Yes, I would love to ask about action wrestling. I'm waiting on Alex's connection to balance out a little bit here. Can you see Alex okay, Jeremy? I can hear him perfect again.
Yeah, as long as the audio is good, we're fine. He's good.
Okay, we're better now. Okay, cool. So yes, recently you also won another major world championship, the Action Wrestling World Title. The match there, Adam Priest was the champion coming in. Any Style, the longtime champion, Adam Priest. It was a 3-way match. Adam Priest, Cruel, and yourself. And you took advantage in that situation. Cruel hit Scorched Earth on Adam Priest, and you made sure to knock Cruel out of the ring, and you got that pin for yourself. What's it like being the Action Wrestling World Champion? We'll give a shout out here to Matt Griffin and the crew over there. I like their work a lot over there in Tyrone, Georgia.
Dude, it's that when I first started wrestling at Action in what was it, like 2021? I think 2021, something like that. Yeah, like I like anytime you come into a company, you're like, I want to be the guy. But for all these years later, all this growth and stuff, to actually like achieve it is really awesome. One person that was always pulling for me to at least to have the opportunity was Shug Dunkerton. Great friend, great mentor. But like he was always like in my ear, like, yo, you gonna be the guy. We're gonna make sure you the guy. We're gonna run the table out here. So it's awesome to be a double world champion. Just out here making history and stuff like that. It's fire. So yeah, it's a cool feeling.
Do you have your next your first challenger technically? Has that lined up for you right now?
So I have 2 challengers coming up. Thursday, I will wrestle Damian Tangra at Brawl at the Hall 2. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. And then I'm not even stunting him. I'm gonna whoop his ass. I'm gonna whoop his ass for damn near 5 years at this point. We wrestled a lot. But Friday night at Noonan Nightmare Action Wrestling. I think it's like Noonan Middle School or something like that. It's one of the middle schools out there. Who cares? I'm wrestling Cody Fluffman. He's a newcomer, a very charismatic newcomer, which I like because if you ain't got no charisma, I'm gonna eat you alive. But yeah, he's very charismatic. He's very fun for the people to watch. He won a scramble match to earn the opportunity to go one-on-one with me. And he thinks that he's ready for this spotlight, this main event spotlight, but I'm about to show him real quickly that this ain't for play.
Well, I got to touch on one guy you mentioned a second ago, Damian Tangra. So yes. I'm familiar with Suplex Science. I know some of the history there. Can you speak any more to him? Because I know you're just kind of saying, like, I'm not even worried about him, but he's a guy on the Southeast scene, especially in, like, like Cena City Invitational, like specifically and stuff. Like I feel like I remember you guys coming through sub raps as well out of Nashville and stuff. Like, I feel like he's really slept on, but he's really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, outside of him being a challenger, because once I'm done whooping his ass or whatever, we can kind of be cool again. But for real, like he is extremely talented. He's always been really, really talented. And like, I mean, honestly, because like I think I started in 2018. He was there like 2016. So he kind of came up in like the Theory, Sean Dean, Danny J class. Like I thought he was gonna make it way before I did. I thought he was gonna like rise to some kind of prominence. And like you said, he's really good. I've always thought he's really, really good. I think the thing for him is I think he's still finding that character. I think once he finds that, and then he can match that with the wrestling, he's gonna take off. But I think there's like the character charisma aspect. I think that's what he's he's not missing the charisma, because I know he's charismatic, but he's still trying to find that way to bring that out.
And what about sharing the ring with Adam Priest, who, when you guys had a singles match, you went to a no contest, and then the triple threat, that's when you win the title. But working with Adam Priest, how's that? Man,
Adam, first of all, I think he said he's like 26, 27. I don't believe it. The man, I swear to God, he like 35, dog.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he's 35. And the entirety of the time that I've known this man, I'm always like, dog, you are not this young. I don't know what's going on here, but you are not this young. No, dude, he's so good. He's so fucking good. Somebody somewhere needs to give him a damn chance. He's like, he can talk, he can wrestle, and he can fucking like entertain. Like he's one of those that's like the total package. And somebody needs to like pick him up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, any style Adam Priest, shout out to him. One of the best technical in-ring wrestlers I think out there. I think he'd fit in anywhere. The other guy,
definitely.
The other guy in that match, of course, Cruel, the current IWTV champion. I remember him like as Logan Creed. I remember being always impressed as like this guy's doing like tope suicidas and stuff. Like what in the world? Like, this guy's. I just feel like that, and I remember him doing some stuff in MLW as Mads Kruger as well, and me feeling like, man, there's like so much more this guy can give. Like, do people see this guy? Like, look at this guy. Now I feel like he's starting to really get that recognition as the IWTV champion. What's it like seeing?
I wish they would have let him be Cruel in MLW, man. I feel like that would have been like a game changer. Like Mads Kruger was what Mads Kruger was, but like for what Cruel is doing right now is like, man, it is money.
I agree. I agree with so much with that, because when he was Mads Kruger in MLW, I would complain about it on the Weekender podcast that I do for Fightful Select. I'm always covering the indies over there, and I would always say, I'd be like, they're making him into this like Frankenstein character where he's like slow moving and methodical. And I get that to a degree, but like I've seen him work on the indies. Like I know this guy can like really go, and he's huge. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. He's another one of those guys where like when the right people see him, I feel like he's just going to be so massive one day in wrestling. And I feel like all of us are going to be sitting here. They're going to be pointing and saying, we've been saying this for years. I don't know how anyone didn't see this before. So yeah.
Like somebody like we were talking about this a few weeks ago, but it's like somebody just needs to sign him and just let him just come in and fuck shit up. That's it. Fuck shit up. That's all. Just come in and fuck shit up. Maybe one day build to a match with some other like behemoth of a man or woman. It don't fucking matter. I know he'll whoop anybody's ass. But that's what it needs to be. Like I was thinking the other day, I was like, if he popped up on like ROH or some shit like that, or AEW, or even WWE, and it was just like, and they let him have the music that he has, and you just hear that shit go off in the fucking arena, and then he appears.
Yeah, I love it.
Printing money.
I agree. Well, and speaking of action, I also wanted to mention the guy, kind of the guy behind the scenes, Matt Griffin. What's it like doing all this work with Matt?
Matt, I mean, even though he didn't want me to, get to this stage because I'm with the good hand,
right? Of course,
host stuff. Outside of his whole behavior, Matt has been, Matt's been actually one of my best mentors. He like I guess like in personal life, he kind of keeps my head on straight sometimes. Because sometimes I'll be wanting to go off on people. I'll be wanting to rip people's heads off, but he'd be like, "Nah, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't say that. Maybe don't tweet that. Maybe don't set that on Facebook. Stuff like that. Because I can be a hothead sometimes. Nah, man, he's so he really likes like talent that's like coachable and that will listen, because like he does like the action next up, so he does a show before the show itself for all the people that come and help set up the ring and stuff, and like there's been like a few like A4 kids, but there's also been like Cody Fluffman was one of those guys that shined on there, and like he doesn't have to do that, like, but like he does, and like it's a good way for him to scout talent, and give people opportunities, and that's really, really commendable, because most bookers are just going to be like, I mean, send your stuff in, show up to help out, but like there's no opportunity there. So the fact that like, yeah, you're coming to help set up the ring, but there's also something here for you, and then once I give you this opportunity, you just got to seize it. Or whatever, you gotta, show me why you belong on the show. He's a really, really dope human being.
I love hearing that, and it seems like that seems to be like a theme kind of in a lot of these Southeast kind of like brother and sister promotions, as far as like you hear about that in action, but you would also hear about that at SCI with like Scott Hensley and those guys, like Dylan Hales, or like over in Sup Raps when it was like Kevin Koo and those guys. And it was just always seemed like a lot of the people that were getting on the shows were people that were just showing up and like willing to help. And then the next thing you know, it's like, we got a battle royal. There's going to be 20 people in it. You want to jump in? And it's like, yeah, I'm down. And then like the next thing you know, I remember Joshua Bishop. We mentioned him just a moment ago. Joshua Bishop got on his first Sup show because it was a Halloween battle royal. He showed up with like some of the AIW guys showed up. They said, hey, we need somebody. He painted whiskers on his face, wrote the word Slutty Cat on his chest, and went out there as Slutty Cat. Next thing you know, he's getting booked over and over and over again. And look where he's at now. And it's just like, he just needed an opportunity to get in front of people. Speaking of someone else who needs to get in front of people, you mentioned the good hand.
Yeah.
Kevin Ryan might be the most slept on guy like out there.
Honestly, I've been telling Kevin all the time, bro, I just need you to get like just a little jack. Not fully jack, not crazy, just a little jack. I feel like that's, I mean, we could do some promo work with him or whatever, but like if he could just get a little jack or whatever, I feel like he would just take the fuck off. Like, I mean, there was a period in time before, I really started, wrestling on shows where he was literally everywhere, all over Georgia, doing everything. Like the shit was insane. But no, he's so fucking talented. He's so brave. Also a little brain dead. A little stupid sometimes with some of the stuff that you're doing. I be looking at him, especially when the match guy be like, dog, what are you doing? But no, yeah, don't do that. But no, man, he's super, super talented. I think once he like finally like gets everything together, because I think he's only like 24. Yeah. So he has nothing but time. I think once he puts everything together, he'll definitely be on somebody's television show.
You guys got a lot of good talent there with the good hand. Like that group, I think, helped out a lot of you guys. And it worked really, really well. And I know I want to get your thoughts on these guys too, because they're also, like, I guess you could call them friends of the show. Actually, the person who's probably been on this show the most as a guest is John Mosley, aka Mose. When he is
is the fucking GOAT. Dog, like he is so fucking good on commentary. It's crazy. He's definitely him and Dylan Hales are definitely two of the people that like I love when they call my matches. I'll always go to them afterward and be like, yo, what you think? Any pointers, anything I can do better, like stuff like that. Like He's so knowledgeable, and then he's just an overall good dude. Like, I think when I first would like see him, like, and before I met him, like see him on social media or I see him on the shows, like I was a little like, I won't say scared, but like a little, for some reason, a little intimidated for some reason. A little intimidated.
Well, it's probably because of who he rolls with. It's like Brett Eisen and like those psychopaths with KOBK. So it's like well, I mean, you're riding the streets with Hardway Heater and Sean Campbell and these guys and Brett Eisen. Like, I'd be a little bit skeptical too. But Mose is such a good dude. As I mentioned, he's probably been on our show like 6 times throughout the last couple of years we've been doing it, and I love seeing his progression as a commentator. He's all over the place now. And you mentioned Dylan Hale, the other commentator, of course, at Action. But can you speak to him not only as a commentator, but as like a behind the scenes guy too?
Man, so I got discovered at this promotion called Pro South in Alabama by Scott Hensley. This all ties in. So Scott Hensley sees me, and he puts me on. He gives me the opportunity to be in the Future Showcase for SCI, because it was coming off of COVID. They didn't want to do a tournament, like a full SCI Invitational tournament. They did the Future Showcase.
And this was the one in Chattanooga, TW.
Chattanooga, right? Yeah. I wrestled Nolan Edwards and what is the other kid's name? Can't remember it right now.
I'll look it up. I remember that show. Yeah, for sure.
Triple threat match. And I think it's maybe the first time that Dylan had seen me. And it was that triple threat match was actually his favorite triple threat match of the night, because like I think they gave us like 12 minutes and we ended up doing like 6 or 7. Like it was fast paced, but it was still very well paced. It was just very, very high energy. And he I guess he got on the Kane train at that point, because he was like, I remember he put a tweet out saying like, if Alex Kane could be that next guy up if he wants it. And like once he kind of said that or whatever, like, things started to really pick up for me. That led to, working with Paradigm, doing the Dan Severance seminar, getting an opportunity from being a standout of that seminar. And like from that point on, it just kind of took off for me.
The other person that's in that triple threat with you and Nolan was Jack Griffin, who I haven't seen in a while. So I
have not seen him in a long. I saw he was doing like some deathmatch stuff. But other than that,
he was the IWA.
No. I think he stopped wrestling. He started doing like he started catching like child predators and shit like that. Yeah. So
he started like going in like
Chris Hansen
down.
Chris Hansen.
Okay. I was like, wait a second. Well, what? Okay. No. So okay, that's so he's like out there being like a vigilante. That's cool.
Yeah. No, that'd be wild. No, but that's the last thing I heard of.
Okay, gotcha. Well, no, I'm a big fan of everything going on in that whole TWE scene too. Like out of that building, they're doing like the TWE shows, they're doing SCI shows, they're doing ICW NHB shows out of there now too. Can you speak at all to Jaden Newman? Because he's like the kind of the man there, and like I feel like he's been on the brink of breaking out for a while now.
I love Jaden so much. I wish he'd answer more of my messages. But no, other than that, Jaden's so good. He's been good. He's been so good for such a long time. And again, he's also another one that's been wrestling for a long time, but he's still pretty young. I think he's like 24, 25.
Something like that. He started wrestling at like 15 or whatever. Yeah.
So like he's been around for a long time or whatever, and he's really starting to come into his own. Amazing fucking technical wrestler. Like definitely a slept on technical wrestler. And he's a good promo too. He's another one of those guys that checks all the boxes or whatever. He's getting more jacked and stuff like that. He checks all these boxes. Just somebody, the right person needs to see him at the right time. Like what the kind of look and presentation that he's got going on now, I really dig it.
Jeremy, I'll let you get some questions in. I know.
Oh, we gotta wrap here soon, but I have to ask about this this other group that you're a part of, Apollo 56.
Oh
Aaron
yeah,
Starr, Calvin Tankman, Lance Archer, and Davey Boy Smith Jr. What's it like leading them in New Japan?
It's been a trip. It's been a definite trip. It's been so long since we've all been together. But we're just a dominant force.
I mean, you beat AJ Styles in the Bullet Club reunion match.
I beat AJ Styles before I even started wrestling. That's crazy.
Jensen, if you are not picking up on this, someone edited Alex's Wikipedia page, and this was an entry in his Wikipedia page.
Oh my, yeah, I was very lost. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so I went on my Wikipedia page and I see this. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Who did this? I screenshot it and then I deleted it because I'm just like, in hindsight, I should have just left it, but I deleted it because I'm like, this isn't true. This isn't true. None of this happened. But I screenshotted it or whatever. And my wife, I asked my wife, should I post this? She's like, no, you shouldn't. Whatever. People are gonna think that you did it yourself. I'm like, no. What? Why?
No one would think that, especially the way it was written. No offense to this person.
So that was fun. That was fun to post.
So we have no idea who did that. Someone just went on your Wikipedia and just decided to make up this lore.
Yeah, I need. If people watching this, go make up some more lore. Nothing stupid, nothing crazy, but like do some more funny stuff.
I'm just picturing like Cole Radrick with like a box of wine next to him, like because I'm calling out Cole Radrick because he actually watches our show, so Cole might actually see me say that about him. But yeah. What about Creed? What you got anything you want to say about some of these newer guys that are popping up in MLW? Like I for instance, on this last not on Reload, but on now I'm getting them all mixed up. He's a Coliseum. On the opener, they had the 6-person match.
Yeah,
with like a lot of the GCW talent. Mm-hmm. What's it like seeing? I mean, because right there, I see like the buzz that someone like you like Wasted Youth. You got like Marcus Mathers and Dylan McKay, and you got of course Alec Price all coming in kind of together. Do you see that immediately as like? We got 3 new like players here. Like I think, like if pushed right to someone like Alec Price with his history already with the IWTV title and everything, I feel like he can become a major player in MLW like immediately.
Yeah, I think I really to see how quickly all of them got onto what do we call them now? PLEs. To see how quickly like all of them kind of rose up, and rose up to being on that PLE like. It took me a minute to get to being on like a show, like a big show. So for them to be there that quickly says something. I mean, I've watched a lot of their work throughout the independents. I'm a big fan of Griffin McCoy, him and Top Guy Time, even though he thinks that he gonna put me on Top Guy Time. That's a whole other thing. I'm gonna whoop that ass when time comes. But no, man, definitely any one of them could be major players. They're all, I think pretty much all of them are in some kind of, story within the show. So like, if they've gotten there that quickly, that means that, the office has something in store. The league has something in store for them.
Yeah,
they're going to be major players.
And I can see a lot going on with Griffin McCoy right now, especially in JCW. They've been building him and Jordan Oliver for the JCW title for like the last year now with their history with Young, Dumb, and Broke and stuff. And like, I think Griffin is right there ready to break out. I mentioned Cole Radrick. You got anything you'd like to say about Cole?
I fucking love Cole Radrick. I had a really dope match with him at SUP. And in that match, I learned a whole lot about myself. I always say that he's a superstar. He's just like, I'm just a guy, and I'm just like, no, dog, you're a fucking star. He's so fucking good. He's so charismatic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's really out here living a dream with GCW. He's been to all these different countries and stuff like that. He's fucking on it. He's fucking on it. I want to wrestle him again.
Would you want to do work with GCW?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Whenever I'm done here with MLW, yeah, definitely.
Alex, we ask everybody this. I don't know if you're actually in your room or if you're at the MLW offices, but the coolest thing in your room, if you have something nearby.
I have these Power Ranger helmets over here.
Let's go.
They're not the real ones. They're the ones from like Amazon, but like I bought them. One of them I bought when me and Damian Tanger were a tag team and we came out with the Power Ranger helmets for Suplex Science. And the other one I bought because I was gonna wear it for a match. But then Damian came up with the fucking Star Lord mask. And I was like, you know what? This is really high quality. This is not. I'm not gonna do that to myself.
Well, I know the helmets you're talking about. They're badass helmets. Don't sell yourself short. I have almost made those purchases many times. I have like a mini version of that in my. I got a little Power Rangers collection myself in here, so I very much respect that. And I remember the Power Rangers entrances and stuff. Damien kind of made that a thing for a while there, where he was like, I'm a big fan. Did you ever see Wrestle Ranger out on the Indies? There's a guy who dresses up like the Green Ranger and the White Ranger and goes out there but I haven't seen him in a while. But if people ever want to check it out, if you're a Power Rangers fan, there's a dude out on the Indies called Wrestle Ranger, and he's out there living it. Yeah, check it out. Anyway, that's I can't go anywhere from there, Jeremy. I don't know if you have any follow-ups, but
no, Alex, we appreciate joining us here tonight. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
You can find me on TikTok at Alex_Kane11, Twitter because I'm funny, same handle. Instagram, I'm also funny. Actually I've been doing like a lot of promotion stuff, and I'll put like Soulja Boy tracks to the promotion stuff, so that's always fun. YouTube, Alex Kane. And then buy my merchandise, MLWshop.com, brainbustertees.com, foryouwear.com. All of those places, go get you some Alex Kane merchandise. Watch SuperFight 4, I believe. Me, Satoshi Kojima, I'm about to whoop that ass. I'm about to make that Carboholic hoe tap out, or maybe gonna pass on. I don't really know. We're gonna see what happens, but it's gonna be a good time. And that's on Bomaye.
It is MLW SuperFight. It is February 3rd. It's available on Triller TV, presented by Fight. That is the official name of it, I believe. 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Everyone can head over to MLW.com, check out, learn more. Main event, MLW World Heavyweight title, Alex Kane taking on Satoshi Kojima. Alex, thank you again so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Guys, we'll be right back here on the Spotlight. We are back, and a big thank you to Alex Kane for joining us in the Creators Spotlight, and a big thank you to everyone here in the chat hanging out with us today. We appreciate it. We appreciate the super chats. We appreciate the thumbs up. We appreciate the comments. All the fun we've had today here on the Spotlight. We'll be back next week talking the fallout from the Royal Rumble and everything else going on in the world of professional wrestling. You guys can check out, I think live right now, even the prediction show for Royal Rumble with Stephanie Chase and Kenny McIntosh. You guys can check out the prediction show right here on this channel with Stephanie and Kenny, two pals of the website here at Fightful. See what they got to say about the Royal Rumble. You can head over to Fightful Overbooked, FightfulOverbooked.com for all the videos that we have going up this week and in the coming weeks, all the live shows we have, including Coexisting with Rob and Maggie every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure they'll be talking plenty about the Royal Rumble. I'm sure they'll be talking about the WWE and the Netflix deal. Wardlow and Trimperetta. I imagine Maggie will have a lot to say about that. That is Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern on FightfulOverbooked.com. Every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, Rob and Maggie Coexisting on FightfulOverbooked.com. Tomorrow on In the Weeds, which is at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Geez, I don't think we're doing a late night show anymore. Tomorrow on In the Weeds at 10 a.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Everybody. Let me get my own time right. 10 a.m. Eastern, In the Weeds, myself and Joel Pearl. I have a very important announcement. All right. Very important announcement for In the Weeds. We're also going to try to do something different on In the Weeds tomorrow. I don't know how it's going to work. If I'm being totally honest, I really don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to try it and we'll see if it works. And then maybe we'll do it again. If it doesn't work, we'll never speak of it again. So we have something going on tomorrow, and I have a very important announcement. It's going to be a big show, a tremendous show. One of the best In the Weeds we've ever done tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, FightfulOverbooked.com. Guys, enjoy the Royal Rumble this weekend if you're watching that. And if you're not, then, enjoy whatever you're doing with your life on this weekend. There's football on, there's basketball on, number 1 seed, Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's go. There's hockey on. Plenty of stuff on. There's stuff on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and all that fun stuff. Whatever you're doing this weekend, have fun with it. Be safe. Wish everybody a very good weekend. Enjoy the Rumble again if you're watching. And guys, we'll be back next week. Bye, everybody.